Okay, our stream is live. Yeah, perfect. So let's just start with an introduction to the Alternate Future Summit. I believe some of the people are joining here on YouTube, and I'll just start with an opening note. We have Martin as our first speaker. But before I go into that, I just want to give a brief about why we are doing this and what the summit is all about. So we believe in an effective cooperation in a globalized world. Innovation, open science, leadership can transform the way people interact and collaborate. So it was not an easy decision to organize such an event. I had a big push from Natalia, who is our co-founder, and we are working on some projects together. And although I believe that it is not going to be an isolated event, but a beginning of a long term cooperation, I felt it was a big risk. A huge job, but I believe in a massive impact of the innovation or innovative ecosystem of the future. That's why we brought speakers from corporate leadership. We brought speakers from universities and academia who are visionaries in their own field, and then we have the ecosystem builders who are facilitators from the government side. They could be from business side. They are also from social impact innovation. So thank you all, participants, spectators, speakers, our team of volunteers and interns for sharing this dream to work day after day for the world's well-being. And now I'll introduce our first speaker. We have with us Martin. And Martin's key focus is now technology architecture and process design for PeopleTree Group. He is the managing director there. He works with key clients globally in the area of executive succession management and talent management. He has about 28 years of consulting experience with big telecom giants, energy sector, IT, financial services, banking, and transport industries. And today, Martin is going to be speaking about the pandemics and the continued threat thereof that should be permanently dealt with because it is altering the way academic learning is structured. This talk will discuss those challenges and how we are, challenged with data in terms of in both corporate and academic world. And Martin's topic is about small data versus big data. So Martin, all over to you. We'll mute our mics and video so you can start sharing your screen. And we have you.
All right, you good there, Shivam? Okay. Well, first of all, Shivam, thanks for putting this together. It's quite a lineup that you managed to pull together in a relatively short period of time. And it's always great having an opportunity to chat to you and the rest of the people that you always seem to introduce us to. Yeah, so today's presentation is really around the idea of people analytics. So we're in the corporate space here. And we chose this particular topic because there's so much talk about big data and artificial intelligence and machine learning. But the reality is when it comes to people analytics and people capability, it's very, very difficult for organizations to have big data about their people. There just isn't the transactional numbers available. And so what I wanted to chat through today was the idea of how HR, and particularly in terms of the function of people analytics, can use small data to extract insight and really have meaningful conversations with line managers. And this is really a way to kind of jumpstart your people analytics capability within a corporate environment. So if we have a look at what we're trying to do with people analytics, there's a phrase that says we now live in a data economy. So in other words, whoever owns the data tends to be the wealthiest and the richest and have the most toys. So if we're living in a data economy, then data is really the currency. And just like if you were in any real economy, if that currency is counterfeit, and the market is flooded with currency that is not legal tender, then that economy is not going to be able to function properly. In the same way that if we're living in a data economy, data quality really matters. And when we're talking about data quality, we're talking about making sure that the data we have is accurate, complete, and up to date. Now, from a people point of view, that can be tricky. And often what we find with our clients is that LinkedIn knows more about the people that work there than they do. It's very, very difficult to keep people information up to date because there's very seldom an incentive for employees in companies to update their information. So with this analogy of living in a data economy, if we understand that data is currency, there is a distinct difference between currency and wealth. If I gave two people $100,000 and came back 5 years later, it would be interesting to see which of them had turned the $100,000 into more, say $200,000, and which of them had $50,000 left. So the idea behind living in an economy and using this analogy around a data economy, if data is currency, then creating wealth is a process. So it's how you use that data that creates insight and wealth. And this is the kind of data pyramid that most people may be familiar with, but I just want to run through it. Obviously, at the bottom of that pyramid is the data itself. And so that forms the foundation of everything. Is that data good quality data? But once we have the data, we have to move to the next level, which is information, which is really about saying, well, yeah, but what does this data actually mean? So we have the data points, but if we can't attach meaning to it, if we don't know why this data is important, then we don't have information. Once we have the information, though, in order to have knowledge, we've got to be able to answer the question, yes, but why is this information now useful to us? And that usually requires the connection and the assimilation of information so that we can say we've got one bit of data, second bit of data, third bit of data. When we put those together, we start to see how that data interacts. And now we can start to see how that data is becoming useful. But if we want to move from just how this is useful and really create a level of wisdom within that company, then we've got to be able to say, okay, now we know how it's useful, but then how do we actually apply this knowledge to make our company better? And I'm going to talk specifically about the area of talent management and people analytics, and specifically even in talent within people analytics, the talent part of it. So, you know, we're not looking at compensation data and overtime and leave and things like that. There's a lot of interesting data there, but that's not the part we're going to have a look at today. So the idea is, through this presentation, I want to have a discussion around how we then move from data to information to knowledge to wisdom. We have a look at how important people data and people analytics is. There's some research that's been done, and although this is slightly older research, the point of it was to just illustrate that people analytics has really risen from the bottom of the importance pile and is now sitting, well, was in 2018, sitting second from the top. It'll be interesting to see where it is in 2019 or 2020 coming up. But as I say, the concept of living in a data economy obviously means that data becomes more important. So it's just logical that people who can work with that data and the process of working with data rises in terms of importance. Now, if we're going to extend this analogy of working in a data economy, then we need to understand there's the wealthy and there's the poor when it comes to a data economy. Now, being data poor really means that, and this is just an example, if you have a set of executives sitting around a table, very often a CFO and finance, marketing, operations, those functions are built on data as a foundation. The CFO always knows how much money was made. You never ask a CFO of a company, how much money did we make last year? And they go, well, we made a lot of money, or we didn't make that much money. They're very specific. They can give you the revenue, they can give you EBITDA, they can tell you what the gearing was, there would be a whole range of data that they could provide to you. And that is why their level of participation, their impact, and their value is appreciated. Now, if you consider from a CHRO perspective, when those questions get asked, perhaps we get a little too complacent with, and this is just a succession example, when will the new CEO be ready? Well, succession is always ready now, ready later, ready much later. That is not a particularly useful bit of data. It doesn't really tell me anything. And as most of us in corporate would know, ready now doesn't mean ready now. Ready now means sometime in the future. And so if a position becomes vacant, it's very seldom that ready now successors actually get the opportunity to move into those positions. So being data poor reduces participation, reduces impact, and ultimately destroys value. So what we want to try and do is we want to try and create, particularly in the HR space, we want to create an opportunity for HR to be data rich. And if we can create an opportunity for HR to be data rich, then we can start to increase the participation of HR at the table. We can increase the impact that HR can have, because suddenly human resources is guiding the allocation of resources into the development of talent. And the last one is obviously that if you're starting to have an impact and you're participating, then there's the perception that you're adding value. So let's see how this can be done. Now, one of the tricky parts around people analytics is that HR is not usually in the people analytics numeric space. So there's really three key competencies or capabilities required to operate in the analytics space. One is understanding data. So you need to be data literate. The second is being technology literate. Understand how to use the technology that manages the data. The third, and this is a tricky one, is being visually literate. Understanding hierarchies, understanding how to display information and visualize it. So from that perspective, perhaps from an HR point of view, it becomes tricky when HR going, those are not my three strengths. I understand HR processes, I understand people, I understand my business, but those three things are not my strengths. So what we wanted to try and explain is that people analytics is essentially on a continuum. Yes, on the one side, on the right-hand side there, you have your data scientists, you have your machine learning, you have your predictive algorithms, you have your models that get built. And that side of the analytics continuum is definitely a place for specialized skill sets. But on the left-hand side of this continuum is we can also start to use what we have. We can rather think about how we facilitate the conversation with the data that we have, and then create actionable insights from that data, rather than put together customized research, build statistical models, and present papers. So how do these two sides of the continuum differ from one another? And I'm going to propose that most of HR should really be sitting on the left-hand side of this, and occasionally we can access some of the very specialized skills on the right-hand side. So if we have a look at the difference in terms of the data analytics continuum, the first thing that we could have a look at is how does the data source differ? Well, generally on the left-hand side, we try to use easily accessible data, whereas on the right-hand side, it can be very challenging to collect that data. So if we wanted to try and understand, let's say, for example, which people happen to be more successful in a particular role, one of the things we'd have to do is we'd have to start building some information or information hierarchy to try and understand, well, what are the variables that have an impact? We'd need a larger sample size. We'd need to do multiple studies. We'd need to do some correlation studies. We'd need to start understanding those variables, building models. Now, that might be possible if you're talking about a position like a call center operator or call center supervisor. But if you're saying, I'm looking for an international marketing manager who can operate in Europe, how many of those do you have? Maybe 2 or 3. So your sample size is just not big enough to actually collect enough information to find out what makes a great marketing manager in Europe. So we're going to work with easily accessible data. The second thing that we work with is we want to work with relatively simple concepts, whereas on the other side, we can work with very complex concepts around machine learning and artificial intelligence, which in my mind is still a fair way off when it comes to people analytics. The primary skill set For the left-hand side is HR knowledge, how HR works, what the value chain is, all the way through from attraction, recruitment, development, performance management, all the way through to exiting people. On the right-hand side, your core competence is more statistical research. The area of focus on the left-hand side tends to be broader, whereas research generally tends to have to be very narrow. The presentation of the information tends to be more visual on this side, whereas it tends to be more mathematical on the statistical side. From the validity point of view, what we're interested in is trying to understand and build consensus-driven insights, whereas on the right-hand side, we need to build valid statistical models that have a high significance and correlation coefficient. So the purpose of using analytics on the left-hand side of this continuum is to promote discussion and to take action. It's a far more practical sense of, we have some data, so what does this data mean? Now that we understand what it means, now what do we do about it? Whereas on the right-hand side, we're trying to build a model and predict the future. So if we have a look at HR and say, how do we jumpstart people analytics as a capability within a company? We really want to focus on the left-hand side of this particular continuum and leave the right-hand side to very specialized options. So what I'd like to do then is give you an example of how we can take this information, very basic information, and turn that into something hopefully that is going to be interesting to chat about. So I'm going to start with this data set. Now, generally, the information over here, employee number, employee division, functional unit, job grade, date of birth, start date, gender, manager, is all within an HRIS system. It's almost the absolute minimum requirement in terms of having an HRIS system would be to have that data set. So all of this is very easily accessible, very standardized information. I'm adding 4 additional data points on the right-hand side. And these are usually the result of talent processes that take place within organizations. The first is performance. Most organizations have some type of performance system, the accuracy of which is debatable, but at the end of the day, usually there's, even if asking the manager, how does this person perform, there's some ability to differentiate people who are contributing and people who aren't. Potential, that's a much trickier factor to assess and often is misassessed or misidentified. Engagement is the level of interaction, the discretionary effort, if you will, that the person's prepared to commit to the organization. Also a relatively easy thing to identify if you ask the manager. Almost impossible to identify if you use an engagement survey, because engagement surveys tend to be broad, anonymous, and aggregate data. So I don't understand how engaged an individual is, but I do understand a department or a function or a country. And then the last one is impact of loss. Again, impact of loss, high, medium, and low. How much it's going to cost to replace the person if they leave. Now, one of the challenges with data is that information, if I look at it, really, I would struggle to make sense of that information. It isn't telling me anything. So what we want to do is, I just want to illustrate how, if we take just 2 of those data points here and we put them into a matrix, how we can start immediately to start extracting some value from the information that would normally just be sitting in a spreadsheet and pretty much inaccessible in terms of what this means. So here is a matrix. On this side, we're looking at, I'm using tenure, so how long the person's been with the company, which is fairly simple to calculate as a result of their start date with the company. And on this side, I'm using age. But actually what I'm doing is I'm looking at retirement risk. So although I have date of birth and I have start date, those 2 data points on their own don't mean much. But what tenure does mean is how much institutional knowledge this person has. How well they know the business, how well they know other people in the business, how well they know our products and our customers, and our policies and procedures. So somebody who's been with the business a longer period of time has more institutional knowledge. So if you own a business, or you work in a business, imagine if everyone in that business left tomorrow and you replaced every single person. Essentially, that organization would suffer from amnesia. It would completely have forgotten everything about itself. So institutional knowledge resides in individuals, and it's really important to know who those people are. Now, the size of the dot indicates the number of people. So in this case, I've got more people who are 36 who have been with us 8 to 9 years than I do people who are 52 who have been with us 8 to 9 years. The reason why I've now color-coded these is these people have institutional knowledge. These people have joined more recently, so they need to acquire institutional knowledge. These people up here have a lot of institutional knowledge, but are more than likely going to be required to leave from a legislative point of view from a retirement age. So my question is, what am I doing to replace and ensure continuity of the knowledge and skills that this group of people have? And then here I've got somebody who's come in fairly late in their career, which is probably indicative of the fact that I didn't do any succession planning. The other thing about taking these two data points and looking at it in this way is it almost looks like we've taken a geological slice of the history of this organization. And immediately what I can see is that around 8 to 9 years ago, we seem to have a bit of a growth spurt. We hired quite a lot of people, and then we tapered off. So we hired quite significantly less, and we're not hiring that many people at the moment. So it's almost an indication of the rate of growth of our organization. So this indicates a lot of growth, and then we stopped growing. So I've just taken two data points, but we visualized them like this. So this gives us the, so what do we do with this information? Now, I want to have a look at the, now I want to have a look at what this means in terms of what we're going to do with this information. All right, Shivam reminded me I have 5 minutes. I am aware of that. Okay, so if we have a look at the information, what we want to do is we also want to be able to say, I'm speaking to a line manager, tell me, you've not told me that we have this many people, 8 people who have only been here less than 2 years. What do you want me to do with that? So these people need to rapidly build institutional knowledge to be effective. So what I want you to do is find opportunities for them to interact broadly across the company, build their personal network, and have frequent contact with senior leaders. And we do the same thing for each of these groups. So each group, basically, we're able to understand not just who those people are, but what it is that we should do to try and leverage this information and make better sense of it. So let me just show you then quickly what this looks like from an interactive point of view, because the key to analytics is conversation. It's not just about producing the pretty pictures, it is about having the conversation. So if I was sitting with a group of line managers in a business and I had this information available to me, I'd say, first of all, we're going to go through the sales and distribution function. So that's pretty much where our growth spurt was in sales and distribution. What I want to try and understand is, who are those 8 people? Okay, I can see who they are. Have we onboarded them correctly? The next thing we want to have a look at is, who's leaving our sales and distribution organization? Have we made a plan to replace that person? Have they transferred skills and knowledge? What happens to the relationships that they have? Then if I add one more bit of information here, I can actually have a look at this right across the whole business, or within business risk management. And now I can see that that same pattern of growth didn't take place in business management. So we grew in sales, but not business risk management. And if I wanted to have a look at one more data point, which is impact of loss, who do we need to focus on? If we lose any of these people, we may be in trouble because it's going to be very expensive to replace them. So that's kind of how we would take this information and use it going forward. So hopefully the point of the presentation here is to say small data can be super interesting as well. But really, what it's got to do is it's got to be compelling. You've got to help people to make these type of connections. Going from the spreadsheet that we had into kind of visualization that I've just shown you makes a more engaging conversation. What I wanted to share then with you, Shivam, is that at learn.peopletreeanalytics.com, people could go and create a free account and go and take a look around some of the models and the analytics that we've built, where we've just looked at one. We looked at the talent risk analytics, but there's a whole bunch of things around people analytics that is quite exciting to discuss. And anybody can log in, take a look at those courses. There's short little introductory videos around each of them. Okay, so I'm going to finish up on that one.
That was super insightful, Martin. And one of the things that I want to also emphasize on is that this particular summit, we also have, the idea of bringing people together is not just about to share ideas. It is more about what you bring to the table. So this was a request from our side, like what can PeopleTree come and offer, or put like on a table for people to just adapt. So the learn.peopletree.com is a new initiative from PeopleTree, which is towards training HR people over basics of analytics. So this will be given out from PeopleTree to all corporates and the new learners who are the enthusiasts who want to get into the field. So thank you again, Martin, for this generous presentation and the offer. Before we let you go and we invite our next speaker, Joao, we have a little game to play with you, since, as I know, you are a technologist. So I will start sharing my screen, and we play a game called Smoke and Fire. Just a moment. In the meantime, I will also give access to Joao to join in and test his mic and camera settings. Okay, Joao, you can unmute yourself and also share your video whenever you want, and you're free to play the game along with Martin too. So I hope, Martin, you are seeing my screen.
I am. Smoke
Okay.
or fire?
Yeah, so the game is about, and to our all streamers, like people on YouTube, if you know the answers to these games, these options, you can share it in the comment, and we'll give the answer at the end of the session. So I'll be talking about emerging technology hype cycle. This is a report that Gartner publishes, and if you see that the technology landscape is changing very fast. Martin, while I start, can you mute yourself for just a moment of time? Like, just, yeah. So this emerging hype cycle is basically talking about, how technologies come, the prototypes and all, create a very big buzz. Okay, there's a new technology in the town, and then how it, goes down towards a trough of disillusionment, where realities and wide scale implementation of those technologies uh, start taking place, like the hype cycle and then the delusionment drop and then the slope of enlightenment, where these technologies take up the a steady growth path. So industries come in and they start building on these technologies and working on it. So the game with Martin is about smoke and fire. And Martin, I will just give you one example on how we are going to play this. For example, I will just give you one technology name, and you have to tell me whether it is smoke or fire. Fire, it's true, it's something that you see becoming a reality in the future, and smoke is like, okay, maybe it's just a name, but it doesn't matter. So the first is like Bitcoin talent pools. Since you're from HR, what do you think? This is an example, so I will give you the answer right away.
Bitcoin talent pool.
Yeah.
I'm not even sure I know I know Bitcoin, I know talent pools. I'm not sure how the two are connected though.
So smoke or fire?
I'm going to go with smoke.
Yeah, true. So Bitcoin is, cryptocurrency, and talent pools are very people centric. So there is no correlation between them, and we don't anticipate a correlation there. So you are correct. It is smoke, and this is the only answer I will give you. And now you know the game.
Okay.
Digital gold.
Smoke.
Okay. Blockchain plus AR.
I'll go with fire on that one.
Okay. Cloud mining.
Smoky fire. Fire.
Come on. Well, I am not supposed to give you an answer, but virtual globalization.
Yeah, that's a fire one.
Great. Mobile apps and biochips.
That's a tricky one. Selectively, I would say smoke, because people are gonna. If you think people are paranoid about real science like vaccines, then putting chips in themselves is going to be tricky. But under specific cases with chronic illnesses and things like that, possibly.
Okay,
I'm
let
very
me
good
give
at.
you an example here. It's mobile apps and biochips, not mobile and biochips. Okay, so smoke or fire.
Okay. I'll go with smoke.
Okay, social media and micropayments.
Are you saying, are they correlated?
No, are they smoke or fire?
Uh,
Are they
um,
one? Not even
that
correlated. Are they one?
social media and micropayments. I'm going to go smoke.
You forgot about Libra, I think. But okay.
I deleted my Facebook account.
Okay,
So
okay.
yeah, you didn't say whether it was for everybody or for me. For me, that's definitely smoke.
Okay.
If you can't trust what people say on social media, why would I take a payment from them?
But still, it could be, a technology. You just don't want to use it.
Okay, fair enough. So for me, it's smoke.
Okay, for 8, AR, VR, and AI. All acronyms together.
All of them together. No, that's fire. That definitely is.
Okay. Okay. Non-financial crypto.
Yeah, that's definitely fire.
Okay,
I would
perfect.
definitely go with
Yeah, non-fungible tokens. Huh? Okay, crypto media influencers.
that. Again, I'm going to go smoke for me, because if I had to, if somebody had to get on Instagram and start becoming a crypto influencer, I would delete Instagram as well. So
Okay, okay. We do have them. So because I am the only one who knows the all answers, I can say you have performed very poorly. But
or your answers would be wrong.
but just to tell our YouTube followers and the people, there are a lot of people who have joined in for the stream. So you can note down the numbers and you can tell whether you feel it is smoke or fire. So out of these 10, if you have 10 out of 10 correct, maybe you get something. Okay, so we are not giving the answers right away, but towards the end of the session, we'll share all the answers with you. So let's go back to our next presenter, and I will make the introduction. We have with us Joao, who is the CEO for Dynargie Group.
Yes.
Joao, please mute your mic for the moment I'm introducing you, and then I will give the whole control to you.
Okay.
So let me again start with. In the last couple of months, we have experienced change like unlike ever before. Let me just ask. Now your mic is feeding back in, so let me just mute you.
Do you prefer me to have it mute? Yeah.
Yeah, I can do that. I'm very powerful here. Okay. So yeah, I was talking about the impact of COVID-19. So much has changed in the world of technology, and a lot has changed in the world of learning. How we are going to learn in the future, and how things are going to impact both the corporate side and the university side, in order for, or even the high school side, on how things are happening right now. 1.5 billion students are actually having a disruption in their learning. So let me make an introduction about the session first, and then I will introduce Joao. So how much is COVID impacting, and above all, how will it impact the way we grow and develop our soft skills in the future? uh, in a remote way of learning, is it a trend, or will it be only a new way for the present time? And what are the dangers of believing that this remote way will be all the way. So Joao is an expert, and he's seeing the industry, adapting in front of his eyes in terms of how many clients they have. He's 56 years old, Portuguese citizens, and working in this fantastic Dynargie project for 30 years. And he's presently the CEO and taking care of coordination of most of the countries and country managers of Dynargie, Portugal, and Spain. So with this, Joao, I will pass on the presentation to you. You have the controls now, and you can share your screen, or you can go into the presentation and start your presentation. I will mute myself and my video as soon as you are comfortable.
Okay, thank you, Shivam, for the introduction, and thank you for this invitation for this presentation. So first of all, I'm quickly on top of what Shivam presented. I have been working for a long period in this company. Just quickly, Dynargie is a company that was born in Geneva in 1982. Now we are spread it in 13 countries. And now the capital of the company, it's the Swiss are having just a minority percentage, and we have different countries controlling the company. We are a soft skills development company. It's the only thing we do since May 1982. So if you want to have a quick business perspective of what we do and what we don't do, it's a small spreadsheet of 3 columns, 2 lines. In the 3 columns, we have the 3 targets. We work in companies, managers, salespeople, customer care people, and in the 2 lines we have training and consultancy. So we have 6 cells of know-how, always with a mission to develop soft skills. Nothing on the left, nothing on the right. We don't do any kind of recruitment selection. We don't do any kind of out placement. We only develop soft skills. So yes, Shivam, I think it was going to say something.
Probably we'll add another, row to it with analytics, behavioral analytics.
Yes, probably. We never know. I'm open to it. I have been open to it, as you know. So today the challenge, well, in fact, when Shivam challenged me, I said, okay, if Shivam challenged me, it's fair that I challenge you. Not to give you, we are in August. It's not very fair to give you a very deep presentation. So it's mainly my style. So during the next 15 minutes maximum, my objective is just to feed you with some food for thought, okay, on a provocative way, as a consequence of all this mess of COVID and all the internal reflections we have been doing at the board of the company and also through the different countries. So it's just a provocative logic presentation that I have here. So from what I understand, I have to go here to the menu, to the presentation, correct, Shivam? On the menu. And look for my presentation. Yes. And here it is. Okay. You have it already, correct, Shivam?
Yes, I will mute myself. I will go, blind on the camera also, and the stage is all for you.
Okay, thank you. So the topic is this: is developing soft skills. What will continue? What are the best practices from the past that make all the sense that we copy paste them? What things should we stop? And what new things should we start having in this fantastic world of developing soft skills? So, just one topic here. Okay, so we have reality 1, and which is present scenario. Okay, where we have been. The way we develop soft skills. And we have a potential ideal new scenario, which is reality 2. So my logic is how could we jump from reality 1 to reality 2 if jumping from reality 1 to reality 2 is the right way. So we have one thing here And what we have here is what is the PLC? And by PLC, I mean the probability level of concreteness. Is it a high one? Is it a big one? We have a big probability to move to the ideal scenario, although what is it the ideal scenario now? Or do we have a low probability? This is the question we have now, and the topic of the presentation is share with you some ingredients so that we definitely have a high probability to move to the new one. So the logic that, Shivam, I just have one question here. Sorry for. Is the presentation on the right way? Because I cannot see it on the PowerPoint normal presentation. Is something missing here?
We see your presentation fine.
Yes.
Right. We are looking at what is PLC.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, probability level of concreteness PLC. Yes.
Okay. Okay. Good. So just was checking that. Okay. So it will be in our perspective that the PLC YoroBi is the probability level of concreteness it will be very low if we will have a disruptive change from reality 1 to reality 2. We don't believe that the new reality, which means developing, teaching people, it will be very different from the present one. And why? Because honestly, we don't believe that there are big changes the way we are able to learn. With PCs, with no PCs, but human beings have not changed so much during the years. So the logic is, we know that a lot of things have been changing around us, but not the way we learn. So if we have not changed so much the way we learn, we have to be aware that if we introduce very disruptive changes, human beings are not prepared to work in a different way. So if we look, do you know the Asha drawings? I like them very much because they are impossible. In a 3D logic, the Asha drawings does not exist. They only exist in a 2D logic. So the perfect development soft skills reality don't exist. We always have a lot of challenges. We always have a lot of slowdown factors, or because we don't have time to develop soft skills, or because I developed the soft skills, but the company where I work doesn't have the proper culture so that I can behave according to what I did in a training. So the point is, in order that we have, so that we could have a high level of PLC, that is, so that we can be trained in a different way, a high PLC, is it possible? But in order to have and to keep having a perfect or almost perfect, because I just said that having a perfect is not possible, a very good, efficient, a perennial way to develop soft skills, our proposal is to move things from the present way we develop soft skills to the new reality. And summing up to now, what I said is we cannot move from A to B. We cannot move from 1 to 2. Our suggestion is to bring good things and best practice from reality 1 to reality 2. So the logic is, as I said on the title of the presentation, in order to have a high PLC, we propose that let's see what are the good things we should continue. Let's see the things we should stop doing, and let's see the things we should start doing. And I have 2 hands full of ideas so that we have go back home after this 15 minutes presentation with a couple of points. So we are on the continue. Key idea number 1, we need to have some kind of classroom. I don't know which classroom, or probably I have some ideas, but it's impossible not to have some kind of classroom. And the classroom, it's not only a space, it's a metaphor, it's the meaning we have there, it's the interaction we have there, it's the ambience, it's the mood, it's the emotions we have there. So it's not possible not to have a classroom. That's why the key idea number 1 is on the continue box, we need to have some kind of classroom. On the continue, we need to have a teacher. And teacher is into brackets because it's also a metaphor. We need someone, it's a monitor, is a supervisor, is a teacher, is a manager, is a leader, is a mentor, is a coach, I don't care. But we always need to have that. And why? Because when we learn, we come with some kind of hardware, but we don't have any software with us. Why my main language is Portuguese? It's not because of DNA, no. It's because at home everybody was speaking Portuguese. So I have some kind of teachers, my parents, my brothers, my sisters. So we need to have one. Still on the continue box, we always need someone to be an example. Human beings learn through example. As I just mentioned, on the Portuguese logic, part of my values and my behaviorals, it's because I have examples at home. Fortunately, much more positive than negative, but we always need to have an example. So on the new way to develop soft skills, we need to continue having examples. Key idea number 4, we have to learn through experience. We cannot learn development skills through e-learning. It doesn't make any sense. If I have to go tomorrow through a surgery, I hope my surgeon learned through experience and not through e-learning, and not only on remote, which has been a challenging issue for medical students the last 4 to 5 months. They are not having practical classes at the hospitals. And this is a fact. They are having, let's call it, practical classes through remote. Oops. I would not like to go under a surgery with one of these guys in the next, okay, probably they'll be okay to have practical life in 4 to 5 years. Be aware of that. Key idea number 5, learning through experience. We need always to be with someone else. And the problem of the remote is we are too alone. We are lonely cowboys. We have to share what the stupid thing, like at university some years ago, what the stupid thing that the professor just said. Oh, that's very interesting. What is your opinion about this? What do you think about that? If we don't have this kind of ping pong, if we don't have this kind of dialogue, we process data alone. And then we always have data in mind. And we cannot have data in mind. We need to have data, we need to have information, and need to have knowledge. And to move from data to knowledge, we need someone else to be with us. Key idea number 6. And now I stop with the continue things. And I don't know if you can see on the top right corner that the stop title. We have to stop with ex cathedra way to teach. We have to stop to ex cathedra way to develop people. If not, they will be bored like they are here. The new generation doesn't. They have to have it. Well, they must have teachers, but they cannot have teachers just under a monologue. That's impossible. It doesn't make any sense. They are not prepared just to listen. They are prepared. They are educated to interact. So the ex-cathedra has to stop. Key idea number 7. Hierarchy. We have to stop with this. We have each time more flat organizations. Peers will have much more power. The teacher, as I mentioned before, could be a peer. It doesn't need to be my boss. Key idea number 8. The moment we have the teachers, and I repeat, the teacher is a metaphor, they need to bring us to places that are not comfortable for us. If we grow, and this is a start, sorry, I forgot to mention that on the top right corner, this is something that we need to start. If we develop soft skills inside comfortable zones, we are just a paste of the copy being the copy the teacher. Developing soft skills is a new copy-paste concept where pastes should be better than the copy. And this is only possible if we are in non-comfort zones. Start. We have to be ready to be on the remote logic. And the classroom, we're delivering classes for MBA students through remote, and we create our own way, and it has been perfect. So the remote, it's a fact. Now the point is, as I mentioned before, do you remember reality 1 and reality 2? That I was saying that it is a mistake if we have a disruptive move from reality 1 to reality 2. No, it's not an or logic, it's an and logic. So the remote is an and logic, it's not an or logic. We can have remote, but it's an and. As I mentioned before, medical students, they can have remote classes, but and probably more on the content. I expect not on the practical side, at least for the next coming years. Finally, from another point of view. So it's from or is morph. So what is the sequence, the right sequence of the letters? We have to start developing people in different contexts. One thing nowadays of the good impact of, for example, low-cost airlines is that we can easily, in a more cheap way, fly to another country, see different perspectives, integrate different cultural aspects. And this has to be each time more a way to develop soft skills. So 1 minute to finish, and I'm summing up the sum up of the key ideas. If I have to choose something, the key ideas are some kind of classroom. We have to have an interaction between people. Horizontal, vertical, but we need to have. And the second one, please continue having teachers. We need to have teachers. And so I finished my presentation. I expect inside my 15 minutes slot with this more different way, in a more provocative way, I hope, so that we go back home with a couple of topics inside each of these 3 boxes. So thank you once again for the invitation. Thank you for listening to this. And well, you have my email here. Should you have any comment, question, I am more than available to answer and to ping pong with you.
Thank you very much, Joao. So we enjoyed the session, and you are not having 15 minutes, you're having 20 minutes. In fact, a little bit more time for us to play something with you. And for that reason, I will just request you to mute yourself for a while so that I can invite Asha in and she will introduce the game to you and she will be.
I will do it now.
Yes. So Asha is one of our organizers. She has been instrumental and she has been communicating with you guys, and she's the one who is behind the scenes, posting everything on social media and, answering the questions and everything. So I'll now I will ask Asha to come Yes. So Asha, you can unmute yourself. You can explain the game to Joao, and it's over to you two. I will mute and go out of the room for a moment again.
Awesome. Before you go, how can I share my screen? Because I'm not the presenter.
Okay, let me change the roles. So Joao, I will be making you an attendee. You will have to activate your camera and microphone again. And then Asha, I will make you the presenter and you will be able to share your screen.
Awesome.
Okay. Joao has no idea what the game is going to be, okay?
You're in for a treat.
Okay, Asha, you are the presenter. Joao, you can open your mic and audio again.
Awesome. Right. So before I explain the game, can I ask you how many languages you speak?
In my comfort zone, I'm with Portuguese, English, and Spanish, although I started my studies in a German school, but it's a little bit like Latin. It's very, very on my back.
Well,
So,
that's a lot
and
more.
I can understand French quite easily. Speaking, it's more challenging for me.
That's awesome. Well, this will be interesting then. Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to play a game called Say Hello. It's really simple. I'm going to show you the word hello in a bunch of different languages, and I want you to try and guess which language it's from. And then at the end, we'll be able to see how many you got right or wrong. Everybody at home, you can comment alongside if you think you have the answer, and we'll make it into a bit of a competition. So let's start. This is the first one. Salut.
French?
Yes, it is hi in French, but it's actually hello in a different language as well. That's why I put it in. And I was wondering if you could guess the other language that it means hello for.
So should I suggest another one?
Yeah, just have a guess. I'll give you a clue. It's Eastern European, if my geography is correct.
Not Greek, not North, South.
I'm not that geographically competent, I'm afraid. So that's all I can give you.
Let's negotiate. It's a way to develop. You are testing me. It's a way to develop soft skills. It's give me the first letter of the country.
Oh, I feel like that would give it away. It's a country that ends in Anian. So you know you have Ukrainian, Romanian, Lithuanian, etc. It's one of those ones, and that's all. It's all you're getting.
Bulgarian? No, it's not a kind of language.
That's fine. Final answer. We'll move on and find out at the end. This one, Xin Chao.
Chinese.
Good
Although
guess.
I think it's too long for China. I don't know. South Korea.
Okay. Thought I'd throw in
Italy.
Awesome. Stravo. I googled how to say that.
Czech Republic. Slovakia.
I don't even. I'm not even going to try to pronounce this one.
Indonesia.
No. It's actually, you might be surprised where this one's from.
Oh, this one I don't have a clue.
Okay, the last one. Švéky.
Something for Norway, Finland, Sweden, Denmark.
It's another one of those Anian countries that ends in Anian.
Next time you should have the sound. It would help
I
me
know.
a lot. The sound would be much better for me, obviously.
Švéky. I googled it.
Can you say it again?
Švéky.
not a Scandinavian country?
We'll see. So the answers are Romanian. Salut is Romanian.
Ah,
Vietnamese, Xin Chao. Italian, obviously. Croatian. That weird one was actually Irish.
ah.
And the final one was Lithuanian. So, yeah.
I have
If you
to
visit any
improve
of those,
my global culture. Next time you should have put the say hello in the countries where Dynargie is. It
I
will
know,
increase the expectations. But some of them I know.
Yeah,
You
we
choose
actually
countries
took them
where
out,
we are not,
you know.
except Italy. So the interesting thing, I was okay in the countries where we are, which is Italy. So,
exactly. You know your own country.
Okay. So thank you.
Awesome.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Shivam, thanks again for the invitation. Okay.
Thank you for coming and thank you for sharing your insights with us. Next, I will be inviting Karolina.
Okay.
So Joao, I will take the control from you.
Yeah, sure. Bye-bye.
Bye. See you.
Bye. See you.
Karolina,
Hello.
I'm making you the presenter.
Okay.
You are going to share your screen, or how are you planning to do this?
I think I'm going to use the file that I uploaded yesterday.
Okay, perfect. Just give me a moment
I'm
to
not
set
sure.
things up. So let me introduce Karolina and what her session is about. Karolina, just mute yourself for a moment. I will pass on the control and let me remove your presentation. Yeah. Do you see the controls?
Yes.
Okay, just mute yourself so that I can make a good introduction about you, what you are doing, and what you're going to speak about, and then I will just go out of the room and you will have the floor to yourself.
And how can I unmute myself?
There is here at the bottom.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, perfect. So next we have Karolina, who is an IT manager in Procter & Gamble. She has completed 2 majors with distinction in finance and quantitative methods in economics. And she has served as the president of the board of Students Association for Computer Science. So she enjoys new challenges and giving, that give her a way to develop herself. So many times our tasks consume a lot of time, money, and effort. What if we could delegate these tasks to somebody instead and focus more on creative things? There was a very thought-provoking discussion that I had with my friend. Like we were talking about what if AI takes all the jobs, and then he just said that, okay, if a machine can do your job, then do you really want to be doing that for the rest of the life just because it gives you money? So the answer here is artificial intelligence. We are all seeing what is happening. We don't know what the future is going to be like, but artificial intelligence is definitely a big technology change or shift that we have seen in past few years. And in the technology hype curve also, and the adoption also, we see AI is all around us and invisible. Like we don't even see it, but it's all around us. So Karolina, I will give the floor to you to talk about artificial intelligence, and then I'll get back with you. You can unmute yourself and I will be out of the video so that you can share your presentation. Do you want to try to share your presentation now so that everything is fine?
Yes. Yes, let's try. You see it now?
Yes, we see it. You can go into a full screen mode and you can start presenting. Karolina, are you there? Is it all well? Do you need any help?
Yeah, I think so, because it's not working, I think.
Okay, can you go to the presentation on the left, second menu on your top? Yes, and look for your presentation and share it. Right now you're sharing your screen. Do you want to share your screen, or do you want to share with your the presentation that you uploaded yesterday?
The presentation I uploaded yesterday, yes.
Okay, so the presentation is not from the screen sharing thing. Let me stop your screen. I've taken the control and go to the presentation tab. Yes, and select your presentation to view. Now this is, you have activated the whiteboard. Just above the whiteboard, there is a presentation.
Ah, yeah. Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay. Oh, here it is.
Okay, we see your screen now, so I will go
Yes.
out and
Okay. So welcome everybody. Once again, I'm Karolina Bolesta. I work in Procter & Gamble, and I'm going to show you some hints how not to get lost in data. But starting from the beginning, the human race is beautifully intelligent, and when there is a task at hand, we first observe and then interpret. And we try to understand what needs to be done and how it can be done. So we evaluate the available options to execute the task, and only then do we act. So that is what we call natural intelligence. But many times these tasks consume a lot of time, effort, and money, and they may be also repetitive in nature. So what if we could delegate this task to somebody instead and focus on more creative tasks? And here the answer is artificial intelligence. And the impact of it in everyday life is more sophisticated, and we'll be seeing more integration of AI technology in our everyday lives relatively soon. So after this short introduction, just to show you how it works, I'm gonna show you the most important uses of AI, and then I present some applications to show you how it works in practice. So the first area, so here we have all the applications that I'm going to present, each of them, and how it works in practice. So the first area is human resource management. And here, one of the biggest benefits that AI offers hiring managers is the ability to identify suitable candidates. So AI software can perform preliminary analysis of a candidate's resume just to cross-check declared skills against the skills of successful employees with the same job title. Naturally, this is not a solution for every company, because in some positions, candidates' inherent flexibility and creativity are worth more than past experience and skills, and that's something that AI has still trouble with. But automation of standard HR processes and low-value tasks is another key area where AI-based software has the potential to improve HR operations. And here, onboarding, so getting a new employee on board is a crucial part of successful employment, because according to the research, a strong onboarding process at companies improves higher retention by 80% and increases productivity by over 90%. So it's really a huge difference. Larger data sets with information of past job profiles and skills are an excellent base for e-learning AI platform to provide training suggestions and tailored training programs. So that's how it works in HR. The next area is customer service management. So basically, customer service is the face of your business, because when we take into consideration, for instance, the chatbots, so besides being available at all hours, such AI systems are providing smooth, efficient, and less costly customer support. And currently, you would hardly find a good online store that doesn't offer at least one of high-tech customer support, apart from the traditional support channel that can be reached via email or phone or Facebook. And here, online shopping experience has been greatly enhanced by chatbots, because they increase user retention by sending reminders and notifications. They also offer instant answers compared to human assistants, thus reducing response time. And chatbots provide upselling opportunities through personalized approach. So it's like a complex advantage of using these tools. The next area here is logistics. So right now, customers expect shorter delivery periods from retailers, and retailers expect even shorter ones from manufacturers. So it's like the circle. And concepts such as robotic picking systems allow supply chains to function around the clock. And here the concept of business days is slowly getting obsolete, as customers expect quick delivery. Artificial intelligence here is helping stakeholders track their logistics in a comprehensive manner. And at every stage of the supply chain, stock can be monitored for damage, delay, fraud, and more. Proper warehouse and inventory-based management is a must for efficient supply chain planning. Why? Because, well, both over and understocking can turn into a real challenge for business and destroy even the most efficient supply chain strategy. Here, machine learning and its forecasting feature can solve the problem and completely change the warehouse management for the better. The next area is e-commerce. So we could see the real difference here during the COVID-19, when people were like asking shops to deliver quickly, and here we like the efficient processes were really sufficient here. So, for example, if you want to tailor your problem-solving solutions and create a strong sales message that reaches customers at the right time on the right platform, then integrating artificial intelligence to your system is a way to go. And basically, I would say that it is the only way to go, because many AI systems enable natural language learning and voice input. And these systems allows customer to solve their problems and even identify new opportunities for the sales team. Some AI-driven systems can even multitask to handle this function and more. But you know that personalization is nothing new for e-commerce. However, with the ever-increasing advances in AI and machine learning technologies, new deep levels of personalization have started to penetrate the fast-growing e-commerce world. Whereas AI-based personalization for e-commerce takes the multi-channel approach, the new AI engines sit on the top of the multiple customer touchpoints to help the business analyze how customers can interact online. Whether it is a mobile application, the website, or an email campaign, the AI engine is continuously monitoring all devices and channels to create a universal customer view. The next area is customer journey. So, taking the first item, search, for example, Amazon searches like ironic board, like pizza store, like Android charger, quickly return our list of the most relevant products related to your search. Amazon doesn't reveal exactly how it is doing this, but in a description of its product search technology, Amazon notes that its algorithms automatically learn to combine multiple relevance features. So it's basically the strong AI. The second part, recommendations. So you can see recommendations for a product you're interested in as Customers who viewed this item also view, or customers who bought this item also bought. It's kind of recommendation. So you can see it, for example, in your account or even on the homepage. And Amazon here uses artificial neural networks to generate these products recommendations. And the research of Amazon people has shown that recommenders increase sales even up to 30%. So it's a huge difference. And the last piece here, fraud prevention. So machine learning is used for fraud prevention in online credit card transactions, because fraud is the primary reason for online payment processing being more costly for merchants than in-person transactions. In a press release announcing the rollout of its AI technology, MasterCard, so the leading company of cards, noted that 10 times more revenue is lost due to false decisions done to fraud. So for example, the company loses more when the company doesn't offer the loan than it would be possessed to fraud. So it's kind of surprising, but it's the reality. And here the key to online shopping has been personalization, because online retailers increase revenue by helping you find and buy the products you're interested in. The next area is finance. And when it comes to credit decisions, whenever you apply for a loan or credit card, the financial institution must quickly determine whether to accept your application, and if so, what specific terms, so for example, interest rate, credit line, amount, and so on, it has you to offer. MIT researchers here found that machine learning can be used to reduce banks' losses on customers even up to 25%. When it comes to managing finance in this well-connected world, it can be a challenging task for many of us. As we look further into the future, we see that AI helping us to manage our finance. So personal financial management is one of the recent developments on the AI-based wallet. And here, from a small-scale investment to a large-scale investment, artificial intelligence commits to be a watchdog of future for managing finance. And now we have described all the areas where we can apply the artificial intelligence. Now I'm going to talk a little about the tools that uses artificial intelligence, and you can use it for your own purpose. So the first item I'm going to describe is Boomerang. It is a very useful productivity tool, and it's integrated with Gmail. So you can, for instance, send messages later, track responses, and use AI to write better emails. It lets you take control of when you send and receive messages, and it is also the best tool to follow up. So you can remind just someone if you don't hear back. You can also pause the messages that you are protected from constant interruptions while still getting notified about the emails that matter to you. Boomerang also helps you to postpone, so snooze incoming emails by making them disappear from your inbox into a folder or label, and then bringing them back to the top of the message list at the specified time. It generally helps you with keeping your inbox clean without losing track of important messages. And Boomerang is also the reminder service that can alert you if you don't get a reply to a message. It also brings an artificial intelligence-powered assistant, and its name is Respondable, and it's directly to your window. So as you write an email, Respondable predicts the likelihood that the message will receive a response and explain that analysis in an easy-to-understand way. And it is all in real time. Respondable also guides you toward writing a message that will be effective in starting a conversation or just keeping one going. The next tool is Brain FM, and it provides some music designed for the brain, and it is generated for AI. And its purpose is to improve your focus, meditation, and relaxation. Generally, the Brain FM is a patented technology, and its music is generated by an artificial intelligence, and it creates an atmosphere that reduces distractions, stops procrastination, and also helps focus the attention. So it's perfect for studying or just getting work done. You have multiple types of music to choose to fit your mood, and all it takes is just 15 minutes per session, so it can be also used while taking a nap. You can also add some pieces to your favorite list so that you always have the opportunity to revisit the ones you enjoy most. And also it's possible to download sessions for offline use. And even though it's a premium version, you have the free access for the first 5 sections. The next tool is Receptivity AI, and it is based on the language psychology platform and helps you understand the emotions, drives, and the traits that affect human behavior. So the algorithms uncover signals from everyday human language that traditional NLP techniques don't. And also they provide explainable, out-of-the-box insight with minimal training required. It has developed the world's most powerful platform for analyzing language and understanding human behavior at scale. And here, by understanding the emotions, drives, traits, and interpersonal dynamics of the individuals within these language assets, customers enhance the understanding of the people who matter to them and drive improved outcomes. The next tool is Clark AI, and it is a very advanced virtual assistant. So it is focused on helping people be more present during meetings and save time by providing artificial intelligence technology that takes notes for users on their calls. So how it works, basically you forward your calendar invite with dial-in introduction to Clark AI. Next, the Clark AI will dial in during the scheduled call. And after the call, you will receive bulleted notes from your calls in your user dashboard, which you can edit and share with others. So the manual activities here are reduced. The next one, iQuant. So it is a great tool to analyze your website. And as we know, our attention is limited because the eyes convey more than 100 billion signals to the brain every second. So that's a huge amount of information to process and understand. Here, the laboratory studies quantify people's gaze patterns and eye movements, such as quick movements, steady gaze following a moving object, just to determine this relative importance of visual features. So, although, and here also we have another tool, and it's used for disabled people. So, for example, when there is a person that doesn't see and the person is in a specific location, you can just click on the tool, and like this tool is going to describe the environment that the person is in. So there is no need to that person to be with other person, because this tool is also describing the environment. So just to sum up, although we don't know the exact future, and it's quite evident that integrating with AI will soon become an everyday activity, we can expect that classical AI will go on producing more and more sophisticated applications in restricted domains. And it is now long before the birth of superintelligence, which is an intellect that is a lot smarter than the best human minds in any sector. So thank you very much for listening to my presentation. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach me via LinkedIn. Thank you.
That was amazing, Karolina. Thank you for the insightful presentation that you did, and also the tools that you shared with us. I will definitely, I've noted some of them definitely to revisit. So before we let you go and we invite the next presenter in, we want to play a little bit of a game with you.
Okay.
Yeah, and I would like to introduce Sofia, who will be playing it. So Sophia, I've given you access to unmute yourself and share your video. And Karolina, I would request you to open the whiteboard system, which was just below the presentation. So Sophia will explain the game, and I will send you some messages in a private chat. So Sophia, up to you.
Okay. First, I would like to ask you if you like to draw.
Oh, wait. I forgot to introduce Sofia.
Ah.
So Sofia is our Portuguese volunteer intern. She is an amazing speaker herself, and she is one of the organizers of Mastermind, which is a student union. What is it, Sofia? Is it a union
Yeah,
or a student community? Okay.
it's more of a community.
Okay. So Sophia has been helping us with the Portuguese translations and the social media promotions, and also she has invited Rui Coutinho, who is one of the super cool speakers you will speak today. You will hear today. And now, Sophia, on to you. Carry on, please.
Okay. So, Karolina, do you like to draw?
On the paper, no, but using the computer, yes.
Okay, great. Have you ever played Pictionary?
Not via computer, but in the physical location, yes.
Yeah. So now we'll be playing Pictionary. You know how it works. We'll send you the word, and you have to draw it, and everybody else has to guess what the word is.
Yes, let me give audio access to everyone who is in the panel. And so if you want, or if you have the idea, you can either put a chat or okay. I'm not able to give you access. Okay, so Brett, Chaitra, and Kritika have access. You can unmute your mics when you want to, make a guess, or for others, you can just, put it into the chat window, and we'll play until we get a right answer, or if Karolina is able to do that. So I'm passing the first message from Sofia to Karolina. By the way, it's a technology Pictionary, so all you will get is technologies, and you have to draw and explain it, and the other people have to guess. And if you are watching us on YouTube, then just paste the comments in the stream, and we'll take that as an answer also.
Okay, and how can I draw here?
You have to use the drawing board on the menu.
You have the controls at the bottom.
On the left side, I think.
No, on the bottom.
Or bottom. Sorry.
Do you see it, Karolina?
No.
Let me show you.
I can draw. I'm like.
Oh yeah.
I'm doing this. Okay.
So Karolina, you have to. Yeah, are you able to do that?
I see the option. Actually, when I am on the screen, it doesn't appear.
You have to do it at the bottom. It's there is a option which looks like an eye or looks like. Okay, you can undo it. Right now you are selecting.
Try, but it doesn't work.
No, this is the pointer. You have to select two next to it. There is a color option, and then there is a.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, ready?
Yeah. Oh. Okay.
Yeah, the rules are same. You cannot speak.
The others can start to guess on YouTube and here on chat.
I finished.
Okay, we're starting to get some things. Remember, it's related to technology.
Yeah, Brett's audio is on, but we have cluster, we have domino as an answer, but it's not the correct
Not
one.
even close.
Brett, would you like to give a try?
Hi, everybody. I don't think you can see me yet, though.
No, I've only given you the audio access, and Bacely has audio access, who is our next speaker. So Bacely, you can also join in.
So I'm trying to solve a problem that I can't solve.
Yeah, data collection. Is it data collection, Karolina? We
No.
have not yet, okay. So, Sofia, you can give the right answer and we can move on.
It's blockchain.
Yeah, we have Gaurav Katiyar who said it's clusters. It's not. Okay, the next one.
Okay.
Okay, we're getting close.
From Natalia Kar, Chaitra Kar, Gopal Bansal is saying classification.
Spider on a car.
Spider-Man on a car. Come on, Brett, Bacely, and Chaitra. These are the three people who have access to play it live. I'm taking control from Chaitra, and I'm
Okay, we're getting on YouTube. Someone said driverless car, self-driving.
Yeah, but what is the
Yeah.
technology? Mansit and Shruti are very close, but what is the technology?
It's autonomous vehicles.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the next one is there in your chat, Karolina.
Okay.
VR.
Very close.
Or Superman.
If I can give you a hint, it's VR. Sorry, I give the answer. It's VR and people are saying cyber security. Virtual reality, yeah. But actual word was, Sophia?
Augmented reality.
Yes, we're very close.
Okay. We have one more here.
Okay, something like this.
People are saying an atom. I just said.
No. It's like an advanced version of atom.
Neuron.
No.
On YouTube are saying intersection. Black hole.
No, but connected with it.
Somebody said neuron.
So the atoms can be here.
Yeah,
Oh, someone guessed it on YouTube. Quantum computing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there was a very interesting comment also from Daniel. It was React logo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just we will go with the last one, which is I think the toughest. Or not, maybe not. And then we will move on to Bacely. Bacely is our next speaker. He's in the room. Ah, sorry, I shared it to the public. Sorry, I did not. Okay, so this specific one is only for our YouTube audience.
So should I draw this one?
Yeah. It's only for our YouTube audience. So the participants here, the panelists will not be playing this.
Okay.
No guesses on YouTube.
Watch, yes, but it's just the component.
I'm glad I didn't get the task of drawing these. I think we'd have been here a long time if you were guessing on my drawing.
You have a new Dr. Game Break.
Internet of Things, tracking system. Are some guesses.
I think Internet of Things can also be okay here because the answer is wearables.
Yeah.
So thank you, Karolina, for being with us and sharing your advice on artificial intelligence and the implementations of it. We specifically chose the game to play with you because you are, presenting technologies and solutions and all. So thank you again. Now I'll make you an attendee, and I will introduce Bacely, who is going to come and give us a talk about diversity and inclusion.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah. Basically, you are in. You can unmute yourself and show us your video. You will have to unmute yourself. The controls are at the bottom of your video. You see a mic and a video option.
Okay, do you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you and we can see you now. Yes.
Okay, cool. Finally, great. So, hi everyone. My name is Bacely, and thanks so much because you invite me there for this amazing conference.
So Basically, we'll be talking to us about diversity and inclusion. I will, simply give you the floor, basically, and I will move out. I will mute myself and my video. So, are you
Okay.
going to? You are going to just speak, right?
Yeah, I will speak and I will present some of those things because I have my presentation. I will try to understand how I can share,
Okay. So, if you want to share now, you have on the left panel, you can do the screen sharing, and it's up to you. If you need any help, I will unmute myself.
Okay, no problem. Okay, thanks so much. Okay, thanks everyone. I'm glad to be there. And now I will introduce so those things. Just to know if you saw my screen. If you saw my screen, you can say yes on the public. Usually I saw like you have a chat. If you see the screen, you can say yes. Okay, cool, great, great. So I will introduce our topic today. We have like just 20 minutes to talk about diversity. 20 minutes is not too long, but I will try and use my best to share with you my opinion about diversity, and then use the proper way to talk quickly and shortly about this huge topic. So the topic of today is diversity is the new Darwinism, diversity and inclusion. So to start this topic, you must know before who I am, because sort of you don't know me. I will just introduce myself quickly. I'm Bacely YoroBi. I come from Ivory Coast, Labour country of Nigeria and Ghana, West Africa. Now based in France, but live in US. That's why I have this tricky American accent. And you know, um, I'm AKA Mr. Diversity because I like talking about diversity every time. And I help all those campaigns to scale people quickly and faster and connect them. That's why I created a movement, a campaign called Connect Text. We connect people, mainly like people that want to be connected with another people, or some of those minority and unprivileged people to corporate venture. That's what we do. We connect people, and that's it. So let's continue to the definition. What is diversity? Before I will start, can I have in the chat if some people of you want to give me answer? What diversity mean to you? If you can write, go ahead. It will be cool. I like interact when I do a speech. What do you think? What is diversity for you? What diversity means to you? If you could be quick. So cool. So difference of culture. Okay. Difference of culture. Number one. Appreciating the difference of people. Okay. So for the way, give your thought, and I will continue. So equity and equal opportunities. Okay, cool. So I will start by these things, and I will say what diversity is not. So thanks so much for all those contributions. So diversity is a new Darwinism. Why is a new Darwinism? Because Darwinism means like it's the evolution theory that all human beings, all biological stuff was a part of sort of evolution. Like the human being we are right now is not the human being it was in the past. Because some of those in the story tell that we was like more no far away from the chimpanzee or all those stuff like that. Some of those people say no, but today I want just to say yeah, we are from these sort of things. But I know something that human beings are different, right? And this story is a differentiation of all those species, all biological creature on this planet, right? In a new perspective of diversity, we are not focused about the evolution stuff. That we know that more we are different, more we use our difference to doing things together, we are more better, right? And diversity is a diverse perspective, right? It's a diverse perspective, right? So when you have diverse perspective, you can, right, being together, no matter your color, different of age, etc., because you have different kind of diversity. You have the cultural diversity, the sexual diversity, the biological diversity, the neural diversity, and the cultural diversity. These main diversity are the part of our society, right? And sometimes people can say, "Oh, we want to be a lover. We want to be a part of some differentiation." But we must admit we are different, and it's okay to be different, right? And we must use our diversity to be stronger, because if we don't work together, and if you think that, okay, we want to be more protected because more we don't give our data to the people, more we are secure. We are not, because no matter what, if you don't give or you want to give, all that are targeted right now. But the most important question right now is the ethical aspect of data, collecting data, and all buyers actually in the tech. And to do that, you must knowing, okay, being different is good, but at the same time, all these labels can create boundaries, okay, but at the same time, you can use this kind of label to create something together, right? That the perspective of diversity, and all big company or all great movement use this term, because all those companies have the group, diversity group, like veteran are together, LGBTQ are together, women are together, because no matter what, we are different and we don't have the same perspective. And more we are with people with the same perspective than us, we are more confident. And when we have the place to do a conversation, a proper conversation with a code of conduct, we can have proper conversation and not dismiss our diversity, our difference, accept our difference, and use our difference as our secret weapon. Okay, so the father of diversity, you have a lot of father of diversity, but I want to share with you two father of diversity, our new perspective of diversity. The first is the I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's like Gertz of TD. I don't know if I'm correct. So this is the father of the cross-cultural theory, because many people talk about diversity, but they forget that the main goal of diversity is not the rest. Like we talk most of the time about the neuro, all different diversity, but the focus of diversity is more cultural than other, and subcultural, because you can be the same country as, I don't know, yeah, as American or as French guy or French girl. I don't know, no matter where you come from, but depending if you are more metal subculture oriented than EP subculture oriented, you don't have the same perspective of the world, no matter if you are the same country with the same culture. But never forget that we have subculture, and subculture also is meaningful and is important, right? And to do things well in all activities, the most important thing is not like the sexual orientation, the blah blah blah. The most important things is the cultural difference. When you have the capability to work together, no matter how cultural different, the rest is okay, for the most of the time. Because when you see cultural difference, we are scared, right? And this man created cross-cultural theory and invented the cross-cultural management. Because when you create organization to make impact as non-profit or profit or social aspect, no matter when you want to create a global movement, you need people. We need cross-cultural difference and cross-cultural management, right? And the second father of diversity is Edward O. Wilson. He's an American man, very famous in the scientists world, created biodiversity. He wrote a book called The Life of Diversity. You know, you can subscribe on Google and find this amazing book. I advise you to read this book. Same thing for Get Us STD. You know, I don't know how to pronounce well. He created a book called Cross-Cultural Theory. You can have the book too. If you read these two books, you will understand how you can manage our difference and how you can manage our bias. Because our bias are coming from all things we consume, media, you know, and when you hear, right, media, when you hear what people read, our educations and our neighborhood, and about our neighborhood, the people we meet, the people we live with them, we create a sort of bias. But to go outside our bias, you must, you know, don't be scared to talk with different people, and no be scared to try something different. You know, for instance, personally though, I don't eat normally French food, you know, but sometimes I try it because I want to know. Everywhere I go in the world, I try. Sometimes I think, I don't like. Yeah, it's normal because it's the first time, but if I try again and again, if I want, because most of the things, do you want something different? If you don't want, we don't like. But if you want, at the beginning we don't like, you don't like, and after for 25 days, if you try, can transform what you're trying as habits, and you can transform this habit as a behavior, and this thing will be a part of you, right? And more you try different things, from all those countries where you are, from all those communities where we are, more we transform our bias as assets, and we transform our brain. We shape our brain by ourselves. Because actually our brain are shaped by people we meet, neighborhood, and media, and what we hear and what we see. Okay, so how to be inclusive leader? Because most of the time people talk about diversity. I want to do diversity, but I don't know what it is, and I don't know how. I don't know. I don't know how to measure diversity. We can measure diversity, but for that we need to give our data. It could be anonymous if you don't want, or if you want, you can give. And if you don't, okay. But to address these issues of diversity, we need data. The scientists' approach to measure the impact of diversity in sort of organization. You know what is knowing who are our different people, and how, and redefine what is different, what to be different. We are all different. You can have two kids in the same family, but they are different, not because they're color, but they are different because they are different neuro approach. It is the neurodiversity. Your perspective of the world as a kid is not the same than your brother or your sister. That means you are different. We must redefine what is diversity and different is, and then we must have an ethical approach, because depending what people have this data, you can have sort of bad behave, like in China, when you are Uyghur, it's very hard. when people know we are Uyghur, it's hard, but you can change to say, okay, you are Uyghur, you're different, but you are okay. Because the states have good ethical approach. But right now, some states in the world don't have ethical approach. The most important thing is about ethical approach. And another thing about data, collecting data, and secure all human beings about internet governance. Because if we don't have a proper approach of internet governance, you can say, I don't want to give my data. I don't want to, be a part of this thing. But all people are targeted, and all people, we have their diversity over there. If you want to be protected, don't use any platform on Google, Facebook, whatever. But when you are on internet world, we are not, protected, right? And we need to change our perspective of that, right? How to be inclusive the leader is pretty simple. First thing is about self, your selfishness. You must redefine your selfishness to embrace difference. Like, okay, I'm Black, but that means because I'm Black, I must consume all Blackness, all Black people. I have all my neighborhood Black people, consume all Black things. No, I need to redefine myself. If I'm Black people, how I can embrace different culture, different things, different media. Not because I'm more brown people, I will consume just brown things from most of the time emerging country. No, because I'm a white people, I just consume white things, all whiteness, all white privilege. No, because I'm not white, I say all the time I'm unprivileged. If you're in yourself, you say you're unprivileged, you will be unprivileged. But if you in yourself, you say I'm privileged, I have a lot of gratitude for nature, and I will transform myself inside, you can embrace the world with greatness, right? Self-embrace difference, accept difference, conviction, openness, self-awareness, humility. All those things are soft skills. Order. When you think about order, what you want to do? Do you respect them? Do you have the sense of equality for them? Do you have a personalization for them? Do you participate? As a Black kiddos, when I saw some bad thing in Latin America, I say, they are wrong. It's not my fucking problem. They are in bad, but Black people are in bad too. We are suffering from slavery and colonization. I don't care about them. I care about myself. When I see some white kiddos in the street without any help, I have some sort of likeness? No. So that is the point of inclusive leadership. Organization.
One more minute, please.
What?
Yeah, just one more minute.
Okay, so I will. I'm not far away of the hand. Thanks so much. Remember that. So, organization. How you embed your organization, diversity, inclusion across of organization. You must also have a way to embrace diversity in your organization. And you can talk about the team too, but I have just 1 minute. I will go straight to done. So. You need three skills to develop your inclusiveness. Inclusive design, how to create product with inclusiveness, inclusive leadership, and inclusive growth. Like when you have this idea, you can spread your idea with inclusiveness. If you are you start with inclusive design, inclusive leadership, for sure you will scale globally. And what does it matter quickly? If you saw all GAFA, actually they have diversity program. That means diversity important. If diversity no makes sense for them, we don't have diversity program. They have diversity program. They're used to diversity because with diversity they can scale their business worldwide. And last things, that my last word. And if you have some question, I'm ready for that. Remember that is my last word. Remember that you can create unicorn or global impact without your rainbow. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Bacely. That was really intense, I can say, in terms of diversity and inclusion. We all see the impact that it is making and the movements that are happening around the world. So it's a great time to bring on this topic, and it's a great time for organizations also to move into these kind of initiatives. So now I'll pass on the mic to Brett. I will invite him into the room. Basically, thank you for your talk.
Thanks.
Hi, Shivam.
Hi, Brett. Let me just make you a presenter.
I just have to stand up a little bit here.
Yeah.
I think I get extra points for wearing a GetBoarded shirt.
Oh, thank you for that. Even I don't have one, right now, but really appreciate it. So, Brett, now you are the presenter. You are, able to share your screen. We can see your screen.
Ooh.
Before you start, let me, start by talking about what you are going to talk about. So, future proofing. This is a concept, or this is the process that he'll be talking about, and it's the process of anticipating the future and developing methods for minimizing the effects of shocks and stresses on future events. So we are in a state of rapidly changing environment. So how do we future proof ourselves for that, and build a cushion around it? So this session is going to discuss how to apply the concept of future proofing to develop leadership talent in our organizations. And the presenter is Brett, a management and consultant professional with 15 years of experience. He will tell a little bit about his diverse experience here, which was a shock or a surprise to me also when I heard about it. And he combines a passion for talent analytics with psychology of technology and people to create value for enterprise client. So, Brett, I will mute myself. I will move out of the room. The floor is all yours.
Great, thanks, Shivam. Before you mute yourself, am I sharing the right screen there?
Yes, you're perfect. It's everything. Everything is good.
Cool. Yeah, and I wasn't going to talk about my my background, but now that Shivam brings it up, actually, I didn't come from this industry. I spent many years in hospitality, managing restaurants and discos and nightclubs. So it's been quite a significant career shift for me in the last 10 years, moving into management consulting and people analytics. So,
Just one thing, Brett. We have an echo. So
Okay.
if you can, just lower your speaker volume. Maybe you don't need your speakers. So
How's that? Is that better?
Yeah, much better. So
Okay, great. All right, so let's talk about managing talent to future-proof your business. What do we mean by future-proofing? Well, future-proofing is the process of anticipating the future to minimize the effects of disruption. Okay, but I'm going to make one change to that definition, which I think is from the dictionary. Future-proofing is the process of anticipating possible future scenarios, because unfortunately, we can never really know exactly what's going to happen. So all we can really do is reduce uncertainty by making reasonable estimations or predictions of what might happen. In an ideal world, of course, we'd just cut the off unknown, and then, well, we'd know. But this is not an ideal world. So if we switch over to thinking about talent within an organization for a minute, if we think about preparing our business for the future, we can broadly say that we have talent within the business, or talent that we've acquired, and we can pop that along the bottom of my page. We also have talent required. That's a bit more tricky to estimate. We can add that to the left of my page like this. And like all good consultants and people who work with data and analytics, when you've got two data points, it just makes sense to represent them in a matrix. So let's turn this into a 4-quadrant matrix. If we think about the talent that we've got within the business, we probably know a lot about some of the people, but perhaps very little about others. And so we can sort these into knowns and unknowns. And similar, with the talent that we might require in the future, we can do the same. We might know the specifics of some of what we require in the future. For example, our operations department is expanding, so we're going to need more people there. but we also might know very little about other parts of the business. How will automation and AI and digital transformation affect how many people we need in different parts of the organization? Very difficult to predict some of that. So now that we've got 4 quadrants, and we can shade them in a little just to show them, down on the bottom left there, we know very little about both the talent that we've got and the talent that we need. So some companies sit there. The gray, we maybe know one or the other. And our goal then, as business leaders or as HR professionals, is to try as hard as possible to make sure our organizations are in that top right quadrant, the space where we both know the people that we've got, so we know what they're good at, we know their skill sets, we know how to use them in the future, and we also need what talent. We also know what talent we're going to need in the future. So I'm sure everybody knows this term. We live in a VUCA world, volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous, and so on. It's a way of describing the future, and I think it's a way of describing 2020, the year we're in. If you think about the weather, the picture on my screen right now, when people make weather predictions, there's a concept involved in that called sensitive dependence on initial conditions. The concept itself is not that relevant, but essentially it's the theory of how small changes in a big system create unseen knock-on effects later on in time or further along in the system, the butterfly effect essentially. And when people predict weather, they sort the world into small blocks and they use data from last year or from yesterday to predict what will happen in each block. Once they have a prediction for a particular block, they can then use that information to extrapolate what will happen in the adjacent blocks. So surprisingly, with weather forecasts, when we look at 7-day weather forecasts, they're actually accurate about 80% of the time. But the closer to present we come at the 5-day mark, they're accurate over 90% of the time. So let me ask you this. If you walked outside and saw the weather on my slide outside, would you take an umbrella? Most people would probably say no, or they might say yes. And when they walk outside, the weather's different. So the thing is that the more VUCA an environment, the less likely we are to be accurate about our predictions. So I want to play a very, very brief exercise. Now, if we were in an auditorium, there'd be lots of shouting over each other. But since we're in a virtual auditorium, you're on mute, you can just shout the answer at your screen. I want you to shout the color of the text that comes up. Say it aloud as we go through these, right? So if we're in an auditorium, people were shouting blue, other people were shouting red. Now people are shouting blue and orange. What's next? Green, orange. Now people are probably getting it. They're starting to shout red instead of yellow. But as we increase the complexity, we can see that it becomes more and more difficult to do that. And businesses and environments work very similar to that. The more complex an environment, the less likely an organization is going to be equipped and able to respond effectively and quickly to a change in the ecosystem. So as VUCA complexity increases, the organization's ability to respond decreases. So the more difficult it is, the more volatile a system is, the more difficult it is to predict what's required. And the larger your organization or the more complex your industry, the more difficult it's going to be to plan for the future. If we switch focus back to people in our business, in the same way that knowing last year's weather or yesterday's weather helps us predict today's weather, so too does information about the people in our organization help us predict and plan for future scenarios. Now, the type of information I've got on my screen should be relatively easy information for companies to have about their people. But the truth is not many of the companies that we work with certainly have all of this information about all of these people. So do we know John's career ambitions? Do we know Bob's strengths? Do we know Susan's career history? Most companies don't have access to this type of information for everyone. So theoretically, if we talk about the known and the unknown, the people we have in our business should be the known factor. It's the easiest thing to identify, to quantify, and so on. But is it actually known? Or, as my colleague Martin said earlier today, does LinkedIn know more about the talent in your business than you do as a business leader or an HR professional? And in most cases, I think the answer is yes. LinkedIn, Facebook, and other social platforms actually have more data about the people that work in your business than you do in many cases. And so for most businesses, if we visualized what they know about talent and what they know about what talent they're going to require, their matrix looks something like this: a very big area of unknown and a very small area of known. So we have to work on how we're going to shift that to the left and increase the size of the known environment in our organization. Now, if you think about the marketing, manufacturing data that your business might generate and analyze, supply chain, financial information, and so on, would you allow a third party to collect and manage and maintain that information? Probably not, because it's business critical information that's going to drive better decisions. But we don't seem to have the same approach to talent information. And I think this begs the question, whose job is it to manage talent information in your business, information about people? Sure, if you're working in a medium or large organization, you've probably got an HRIS system of some sort. You've probably got an HRIS administrator. So you might say, well, it's their job. I don't think so. Their job is usually to maintain a system, to make sure it's available, it's in line with the SLA in terms of uptime, it's functional, does what it says on the label. But it's usually not their responsibility to take care of the data itself, to make sure that the information in the system is complete, current, and comprehensive for everyone in the business. And so why do we have this problem? Well, managing any data is difficult. I think many of us on this call are involved in some form of data or analytics. It's very difficult working with information, making sure that it's in a format that's going to create insight. But managing talent data is even harder. And we think there's three important challenges to overcome. The first one is scalability. HR departments typically design a process that fits with their strategy, and then they forget to ask the question, how am I going to scale this out across the organization? So they design a leadership development program, they assess a small group of executives, maybe they have good data on that group of people, but what about everyone else? And so one of the issues with designing a process and creating scalability is we end up in a situation with decentralized information. So too many HR teams end up working with Excel as their primary data storage tool. Don't get me wrong, Excel is a great tool. I think it's incredibly powerful for interpreting and working with information, but it's not an effective tool for storing and maintaining data. And I think that's what sometimes happens. So somebody in HR ends up creating a wonderful data set about a big group of important executives within the business, and then they leave, and they were the ones managing that information on their computer, and now they've left, and we have to start all over again. And so we lose that knowledge. So I think usually the demographic and payroll information in an organization is pretty accurate, because otherwise it wouldn't necessarily, we'd know about it because someone wouldn't get paid. But there's usually very little else. And it's the other information that we need about people, which is really going to create value and drive better decision making in terms of preparing for the future. And I think one of the challenges is that as business and as HR professionals, we're competing for attention. We're not competing for attention with other HR systems. We're competing with the challenges of the person's job, with the demands from their manager. We're competing with Netflix, and we're competing with Facebook. We're competing with their children. And we're losing because we don't create the right incentives that motivate people to keep their information in our organizations up to date. So what can we do about that? Well, if we create the right incentives to drive the right behavior, we can do this more successfully. The challenge is the incentive itself. And this is something that LinkedIn, Facebook, and others do very well. Why do people willingly give companies like LinkedIn their information? It's because there's a clear incentive. I put my information into LinkedIn, I create my profile, and as a byproduct of that exercise, I'm able to connect with colleagues, I can connect with my industry, I can ultimately stay visible in a marketplace of opportunity, and that's my incentive for doing it. In organizations, though, we don't generally provide some types of incentives when we implement an HR process or a system. So from an incentive perspective, the biggest incentive we can create is an opportunity for personal and professional growth in our organizations. Now, all of the research around engagement surveys, looking at why people leave organizations, is often related to personal and professional growth opportunities, big area of concern. So we have to kind of consider, do employees in our business see their careers within our organization like the top of this graphic or like the bottom of this graphic? So are they going to blossom and grow, or are we not watering enough and they're not going to blossom and grow? The other thing about incentives is that it's important to incentivize each stakeholder in this process. So what motivates me as an individual is different to me as a manager of other people, or it's different to me as a business leader. So for individuals, finding opportunities for using that data that they provide to you in the talent management systems or tools that you have across that value chain, helping them to use their strengths, understand how they can practice new skills, develop attributes that are important for their success, and ultimately connect with new opportunities in the business. For managers, perhaps it's a little different. For managers, we want to make sure the talent data is available and creates value. So we need to structure it in a way that the data provides meaningful conversations with their teams and ultimately helps them be more effective as a manager in our organization. And for a business, we want to really use that talent data platform to drive better decision making, more efficiently allocate resources, direct our investment in people, and create better hiring decisions. Okay, so cool. Everybody agrees talent data is valuable. So then how do we get employees to regularly update their information on our systems to ensure good quality data? Well, imagine if your HR department ran Facebook as a business. We'd probably get sent a spreadsheet in Excel every 12 months from Facebook, and they'd say, please will you list all of your friends, please will you tell us all the places you plan to go in the next 12 months, and give us one short and black and white headshot of yourself and send it back to us. And then next year we'd probably get a blank spreadsheet. I don't think Facebook would be a very successful business if they took that approach, but they are successful because they also provide value to their users. And so we should take some inspiration from how LinkedIn and Facebook approach this issue of collecting data. So in terms of making it more sustainable as a process of data collection, we have to make it easier to use. So we have to minimize complexity. Complicated HR systems are so 1995, or maybe there's some ERP systems around today that are still a bit like this. But there are many good SaaS solutions out there. There's 10, 15 I could think of that do a great job of minimizing complexity and increasing engagement with the workforce. I think, with the kind of ubiquitous adoption of smartphones and apps in our lives, we've all become, to an extent, UX experts. We all have a certain expectation of how our software should work, how it should look, how it should become intuitive. And we transfer those expectations from our cell phones and from our personal lives into the type of technology that we interact with in the workplace. And following on from the simplicity issue, we also have to provide utility. So is the process that we're asking people to complete adding value to them? Or is it simply a compliance-driven exercise that they must commit time and energy to? So I think agility is key. You don't know what the future is going to hold. So rather than saying, I don't know what the future is, say, I'm going to be responsive to whatever the future might be. And organizational strategies, no matter how well documented they are or how well strategized and planned they are, they generally tend to change. If you think about this year, for example, whose organizational strategy in January of 2020 said in the strategy, we're going to lose 65% of revenue by July, and we're going to close our business for 8 weeks over the busiest period. Like that just was a totally unexpected event. But if we have a foundation of accurate information, of people intelligence, we can use that to make better decisions, to become more responsive, and to adapt more rapidly to the future requirements of our organizations. And so just in closing, as an example here, imagine that we needed to find 2 people that fitted the green context. Here's all the people in our business, and the problem we have, or the role that we've got, requires people who are green. Well, we've got 2 of them already, so that's quite easy if we needed 2. If we needed 4, well, we've got 2 that are green, and perhaps we've got 2 people who are pretty close to being green, so we could develop them for those new roles. And if we needed 4 people, well, if we needed 5 people rather, well, then we'd have to hire from outside because we don't have anyone else in the business. So what tends to happen in these scenarios is because we don't have great information about our people, a vacancy comes up, a succession issue comes up, and we have to then start the collection of data. We then have to go to the business, try and identify people who are going to fit with that position. Then we have to go and collect the talent information about them. And so the time it takes us to fill those vacancies or solve those problems for our business leaders tends to increase. So if we proactively go out there, create a platform of people intelligence by rethinking how it is that we're approaching the issue of data collection, we'll be in a better position to be more effective at driving scenario planning, anticipating an uncertain future, and essentially overcoming all of the challenges that come with being uncertain. So thanks very much, everyone. I think I was about 15 or 16 minutes, Shivam. I did promise I'd be 15.
We want you to be even longer. So there is some fun activity arranged with you. But before I do that, I will invite Nazi. Let me just open. Yeah, Nazi, can you share your video and audio? So Nazi is our organizer and L&D expert from Iran. And she'll be introducing you to a fun game that will be, played by me, but like played in the sense just clicking by me.
Don't ask me to sing or dance, but anything else I can do.
It's almost close. Maybe it's tougher. I don't know. So Nazi, you can explain the game. Yeah.
Hi, Nazi.
Okay, so we're going to play this game. I hope you're good at storytelling. You're going to look at pictures, a slide of pictures, and for every picture you need to make a story, like in order to be connected to the next slide. So in that case, we'll have a long story made up by you.
Well, many years ago, we were in an auditorium.
So if you're ready, we can start.
And from
you
there,
already started the story.
Oh, I'm not speaking about the GetBoarded slide. Okay.
No. So you will see my screen, and you will have, I will flow the presentations. There will be some pictures that will change, as Nazi said. You just have to narrate or build a story with the continuity. You cannot just change.
Perfect. So appropriate game, considering we mentioned VUCA a few times in that presentation.
The game is picture pitch. So are you ready, Brett?
Yeah.
Okay, so you can start your pitch and I will continue.
Okay.
Nazi, Shivam and I many years ago got together and we looked at the deforestation and destruction happening in forests across the world. And we thought about our future. We thought, we really want to have an impact on climate change and deforestation.
Carry on till I change the slide.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, and then we found ourselves thinking about innovative ways to use data, analytics, and software to solve these problems. We also wanted to focus on wildlife. We wanted to focus on bird life. And so recently I started a bird spotting course. And I can tell you that the bird that was on the screen previously is a white-breasted eagle. It was really our shared love for environment that brought us together. It's just me.
And then what happened?
Okay. Well, then, we got together, we tried to solve this problem. We realized that we could look to the stars, we could look to astrology to solve this problem. And, I'm Sagittarius. So one of the things that Sagittarians really love is animals. Sagittarians at our core are animal lovers. And so that's really the connection between, where I come from, our connection together, and our shared love of environment and animals. So we developed this business, we sat under the stars and watched the eclipse. Of course, documenting it. I mean, that's a shot of us. You can see all the pictures before that were taken on those specific cameras. I think we've got a Sony DX7 there, very powerful camera.
Amazing.
Good. No, really good. Thank you.
All right, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me today.
That was awesome.
Sure we'll
Thank you, Brett.
Thank you, Brett. And now next we have Chrisalena. So I will give the right. Chrisalena, you can share your screen now. Do you have access to share your mic and video? Yeah, we can see you. Yeah, we can see you.
Hello.
Hello. Yeah, we can see you and hear you perfectly.
Let me just share my screen. Okay, how do I share my screen? Can you see my screen now?
You have to share it from the left panel. Not yet.
Left. So, yes.
Okay, so I'll just introduce Chrisalena. She's a MPhil student in International Business Administration at International Hellenic University. And she has worked as an air show organizer since 2014. So she'll be talking a little bit about corporate social responsibility. So from here on, we are trying to, transition from the corporate part and, towards the connection with the universities and the academia. So corporate social responsibility with Chrisalena, we'll be hearing about, the works that organizations are doing and are, supposed to do in terms of, giving back to the society, giving back to the environment. So Chrisalena, if you're ready, I'll just myself and Nazi, and we'll go out of the room. It will just be you, and you can start your presentation now.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the introduction. I'm very happy to be with all you, those bright people. I'm going to present to you my research on strategic corporate social responsibility, henceforth strategic CSR, focusing in recessionary periods, just like the post-COVID-19 era. So it was in the early 2000s that a CSR was related to firm strategy and transformed from a merely philanthropic deed into a competitive tool. It is a strategic CSR is defined by the European Commission as the voluntary integration of social, ethical, and environmental concerns into the core strategy and business operations in order to maximize the creation of shared value for shareholders, other stakeholders, and society, and to finally prevent the possible adverse impacts of companies. Strategic CSR is a contextual concept, meaning that it is highly influenced by the environment in which the firm operates. All those challenges brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic shaping the new normal spurred us to examine whether and how strategic CSR activities impact firm performance. With a research focus on recessionary periods, such as the one that we're going through. It is also very interesting to look at the case of companies operating in stigmatized industries, such as in gambling, cigarettes, alcohol, abortion-related sectors. Well, according to our research, there is a general consensus between scholars on 4 factors which distinguish strategic from non-strategic CSR activities. First is proactivity. Proactivity distinguishes the planned activities from those unplanned and reactive in nature. Centrality refers to the alignment of CSR activities with the mission and the vision of the company. Commitment adds the notion of the appropriate amount of time and resources allocated in order to materialize those activities. And finally, specificity implies that the activity will also benefit the firm rather than benefiting society at large only. The effective strategic CSR communication inside and outside the firm is also very important. Strategic CSR communication means that the right message is conveyed to all stakeholders, and it is very important for what is called the triple win. That is the positive impact for the society, the company, and stakeholders. Companies operating in stigmatized industries or controversial sectors can also exercise strategic CSR, even exceed companies operating in mainstream sectors, if the perceived benefits brought about to society outweigh the societal costs. One of the benefits of strategic CSR is the creation of shared value by means of improving competitive advantage, redefining productivity in the value chain, and reconceiving the product and the market, thereby leading to broad trust-based relationship networks. Strategic CSR is also viewed as a source of innovation, as it promotes societal research and development. It generates a socially related innovation system, and it reinforces the value of diversity in the workforce. It therefore results in increased innovativeness of employees, as well as in technological innovation. Moreover, the good reputation entailed contributes to the reduction of capital costs or any potential socio-political risks, because it helps to attract and recruit the right employees and lower the turnover rates. Now let's focus on recessionary periods. A recessionary period is characterized by a deflated pool of resources. Now, strategic CSR activities contribute to the company's reorganization and renewal, and that is why they are related to the recovery from a crisis, either a financial crisis or a crisis caused by, for example, a natural phenomenon, catastrophe, just like the tsunami in Sri Lanka a few years ago. A stronger positive relationship between strategic CSR and company performance has been detected during such periods. It is true that strategic CSR activities, when compared to non-strategic ones, are more easily maintained because they are more structural and routinized. Moreover, companies which maintain or even multiply such activities during a recessionary period are viewed as more sincere and unselfish. On the other hand, criticism on CSR focuses on it being an empty promise or a manipulative strategy, for example, a strategy for avoiding regulation. Sometimes strategic CSR contributes to political connections, leading to unfair competition, usually in more corrupted societies. It is also thought that strategic CSR leads to higher costs for the company if not effectively combined with the corporate strategy. Last, strategic CSR can be viewed as a chore for employees and the management team unless all kinds of benefits, both moral and economic, are evident. In conclusion, strategic CSR and CSR are part of a continuum rather than two distinct concepts. The contextuality of strategic CSR is responsible for differences in the implementation of strategic CSR activities among small to medium enterprises, multinational companies, global value chains, regionally owned and large state-owned companies, and European and not European ones. That is why we can say that there is no clear picture of how strategic CSR is related to fair performance in general. However, strategic CSR activities have proven more beneficial, not least during recessionary periods. In addition to this, the combination of both CSR and strategic CSR activities could result in more gains for both the company and the society. That is why we argue that it is imperative now for organizations to reevaluate their strategic CSR approach, to prioritize their initiatives, and to better engage the needs of the public, because of the fact that there are many risks as well as opportunities involved in the new normal, which could also be referred to as the new possible. Thank you for your attention, and I hope you all stay safe.
So that was very insightful, and especially around the CSR and all. This is a great forum to be speaking about this particular thing. I will again ask Nazi to come into the room, and while we prepare for our next speaker, we'll play a little game with you, and Nazi will explain it.
Mm-hmm.
And I will set up Rui Coutinho, who is our next presenter. I've given him the access to share his mic and camera. So Nazi. Yeah.
Hello.
Hello,
This is
Nazi.
that we'll play, and then we'll move on to Rui.
Okay, the game that we're going to play now is called Guess the Gesture. I am going to show you the gesture, and you have to guess what that means. It might have different meanings in different cultures, but I want you to guess the meaning if you're familiar with the meaning of the gesture or not. So the first one I want to go with is this.
Oh, it seems like a greeting to me.
From another guess?
Another guess. So, is it while speaking, or is it just? Do you want to give something to someone?
No.
Are you scolding anyone?
Kinda. You're close.
Oh, right. So it's a disapproving gesture, right?
Kind of like in Italy, when they want to say that I cannot believe what you're saying, they do that.
Really?
Yeah. Okay. So the next gesture I'm going to go with, is this.
Does it mean that you're sad, that you want to cry? Is that tears coming down your face?
Yeah. And it generally means that I'm broke.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so the other one, I think you're familiar with this one, is this gesture. Or in some cultures, they do this.
Does it?
So if any other one can have a guess about this?
Does it have to do with money?
Exactly. Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. How about this one? I don't know if you have seen it before or not. It's like scratching your palm with your forefinger.
Doesn't ring a bell. I will guess. It will be just a guess. Does it mean that you're just talking and you're just words? You.
Now I'm gonna give you a clue. It's kind of related to the one that we talked before.
To the what? To the what?
To the ones that we talked before. To the other gestures that we talked about before. This one.
Is it about guessing or?
Yeah, it's just money in Ghana. In Ghana, if they want to show that money, they do this gesture.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Oh, that's interesting. Wow.
Okay, so how about this one?
Does it mean that you're bored?
No.
You're thinking of something? Or do you find me attractive? You find me attractive. No, you don't find me attractive.
I really do.
Yes, I know.
Any guesses?
Are you trying to seem attractive to someone else? Is it like
It's really interesting because it means delicious in Italy.
Yeah. Wow! I could never guess that. Yeah, really.
Okay, so how do you say no if you want to show no with a body gesture? How do you show that?
Is it a cute no? Because I would say
Oh.
Otherwise, it would be.
That's
your.
Stop.
Yes.
Okay. So can you guess what this one means?
It's like a greeting of the queen, like a hailing the queen.
Or
you want to dance? Let's go dancing.
Let's dance. It means no.
Really? Where?
Yeah, in Nepal. In Nepal, it means no. If they want to say no, they do this.
Oh God.
Yeah, in India we have very subtle gestures, so if we do this, it's like, okay, carry on, go forward.
Oh yeah. Like the directions with a car. Yeah.
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 Nazi is our learning and development trainer from Iran, and she brings a lot of culture herself, and she takes lessons with languages and all. So we thought this was the best game to introduce her with. And now, thank you, Chrisalena, for
Thank you so
the
much.
talk.
Thank you.
Thank you, GetBoarded. Thank you, Nazi.
So next we have Rui. Rui, thank you for joining us. I will give you the presentation rights. Now you have the whole menu in front of you. And while you are setting yourself up, let me introduce Rui. He's a fire starter. He's a agent provocateur. So he's a strategist, innovation and science manager, professor, researcher, mentor, and entrepreneur. But he works primarily with Porto Business School, and he's the executive director for innovation and growth and co-director of the executive MBA and professor of innovation and entrepreneurship at executive full-time at for digital MBAs. And he'll be talking to us about challenges and opportunities in a volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous digital world. The same thing, not the same, but a continuation of what Brett also touched upon. So he'll be addressing it on how uncertainty can drive our collective intelligent growth. So Rui, with this, I'll pass on to you. We'll go out of the room, we'll mute ourselves, and if you need anything, just ask.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be around. Here are my contacts. Please, if you want to get in touch digitally or virtually, or even if you want to drop by at Porto Business School in Porto, you are very, very welcome. Let's build on what Brett was saying a couple of minutes ago. The idea of the VUCA world, volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous. Well, we have two ways of looking at it. You can see the glass half empty, or the glass half full. And I prefer, maybe I'm the ultimate optimist, but I always prefer to see the glass half full. So I believe that uncertainty can really be a guiding light, and can drive our behavior, can drive our approach to personal life, to professional life. Our path in this planet can be driven within uncertainty and building on uncertainty, not only surviving but thriving on uncertainty. The idea of the VUCA world is quite interesting, but it has become such a buzz acronym: volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. What do we mean by this? We mean that first and foremost, the world is much more unstable and than it used to be. There's a constant change, a very fast change. And what is new is that the duration of this uncertainty, the duration of this constant change becomes unknown itself. And you cannot, limit the periods in time. They overlap. Here in Portugal, we just remember when we were bankrupt 5 years ago, and then suddenly we became an economic miracle, and now we are in the pandemics with a decrease of 16% in our GDP in the last quarter, and in 5 years. So this instability, this constant change, this fast change, and the unknown duration is a strong characteristic. And what do we tend to do? We tend to look at the past, and we tend to look and search in the past the solutions and the predictions that can help us with the future. Well, guess what? It's not that helpful anymore, because actually, what we're driving now in new roads that weren't built a couple years, 10 years, 20 years, 100 years ago. So we're trying to navigate through these new roads, these new avenues, with the maps that we know, with the previous maps. So imagine if you insert your destination in your GPS device, in your Google Maps or Waze, and what they will do is that they will use the roads that they know, either by mapping them out, by photographing, by building on collective and crowd knowledge like Waze. The problem is that many of those roads are not there anymore, and new roads have been built that are not yet mapped on Google Maps or Waze. So we need new maps. We need to understand this brave, admirable, scary new world. I love I love a book from Tim O'Reilly called WTF, What's the Future? And Tim O'Reilly was an editor and publisher from Silicon Valley, founder and owner of the O'Reilly Media Corporation. He describes himself as a cartographer, because what he has been trying to do is really to map these new roads, to map these new avenues. And this is kind of what we need to do, because if we just rely on the GPS that brought us here, we will not navigate into the future. And that is an uncertainty that we are not equipped to deal with. It is complex because there are many interconnected variables. There are many parts, many intertwined events, technologies, etc., that really turn this world, like we say here in Portugal, a small p. Why? Because, well, a small event in a market in a city that most of us here in Western Europe hadn't even heard about, in China, well, it started what we know and where we are today, this pandemics. So this complexity is very well demonstrated during the time we're living in at this moment. And this ambiguity that we need to learn to deal with. Larry Leifer, professor from Stanford University, and I would say the founding father of design thinking, mentions that the most important skill we need to develop is to learn how to dance with ambiguity. Ambiguity means that we need to understand that the unknown is actually really unknown. There are new unknown unknowns, and this instability really is a characteristic, is a pattern, is a trend that we are seeing. And we all think that this VUCA thing is a transition process. It's a movement, a migration from one generation to the other, or from one economic development model to the other, or one social development model to the other. But guess what? I think it's not. I think this is the new normal. I think this is what we will have to deal from now on, forever in our lives. And actually, it's not new. If you think of how it has been hard in Western European countries like Portugal, for young graduate people to find jobs, the idea that we don't get jobs for life anymore. Actually, we don't even complain about that, because millennials and centennials, they don't want jobs for life. We want to, build our careers and jump from one place to another, from one job to another, from one family to another. We marry and get divorced, and then we don't marry anymore, or we marry again. So we are pretty much equipped to deal with uncertainty. And actually, we have been thrived even with uncertainty. Uncertainty can really be a guiding light, but there are some things that are changing, and we need to understand that. And of course, digital is super accelerating everything that we know, everything we have taken for granted. The order is really changing, and what's new, this idea of fourth industrial revolution, or call it what you want, what's really new comparing to the three previous industrial revolutions is the speed, the pace, that it happens. You can understand this in with multiple indicators. If you analyze the four industrial revolutions and link it to the agricultural revolution, which were really pivotal moments for our planet and for humankind, you understand that from agricultural revolution to the first industrial revolution, 8,000 years. From the first industrial revolution to the second industrial revolution, around 120 years. From the second industrial revolution to the third industrial revolution, 60 or 70 years. And from the third to the fourth, 25 or 30 years. This is the new pace. This is the new speed. It happens because of technology. indeed it happens because of technology. Technology is hyper-connected, it generates exponential change because of that interconnectedness, if you want. You have fundamental technologies, and then you have acceleration technologies that really connect them and intertwine them to really accelerate and turn and put us in a world where exponential really means exponential. And think of the evolution from the first iPhone in 2007 to the iPhone we have today, or the smartphone we have today. Think of the evolution of the size of the first IBM computer that was installed in NASA to the size of the smartphone you have in your pocket, and understand that the smartphone that you have in your pocket has exponential times or is exponential times more faster, with more storage, etc., and smarter. So this is really a new order that really is marked by speed, and we need to deal with that. And the problem is that we have been looking at this fourth industrial revolution and this digital transformation from the machine point of view. And so what companies have been expecting from us, what we have been demanding our students, what we have been demanding our people, is really to work like machines. You learn in process. You need to be perfect. You need to be accurate. You need to be as fast as the machine, and this is not possible. This is really not possible. When we try really to push people to become some sort of superhumans that can work as fast, as better, or as I put it here with the Daft Punk quote, as harder, better, faster, and stronger as machines. This is a mistake, because we will always lose. And it's not even admissible, if you want. Think, for instance, of what has happened during the peak of the pandemics, when all of us, we had to go home and started home officing. And in the beginning, it was fun. We had to adjust to the Zooms and to the Teams and all these technologies. And then, but at the end of the second week, our bosses were expecting us to have the same productivity impact, or the same efficiency as when we were at the office, and without understanding that simultaneously we had to do the work that we always did, but we had to take care of kids that were also staying at home, that didn't have school, and we had to be worried about our health and our safety, and our family's health and our safety, and still we were trying to analyze productivity and efficiency. And it's just not possible. And every time we want to really work like machines, we will lose. And if you add to this an idyllic idea of wanting to be perfectly healthy, perfectly fit, having a perfect body, dealing with the pressure of life and with the speed of change in a pure, super healthy way. So forcing us to work like machines and forcing us to have perfect bodies, this is taking a toll on our health, especially our mental health, because we can't do it. And it's actually ludicrous that we think we can do it, or even worse, it's ludicrous that we want to do it, because we are not superhumans. We are not superhumans. We will never be superhumans. We can perfect ourselves. We can train ourselves. We can do a lot, but there are limits to what we can do. At the same time, some of those limits are truly our strengths. And we need to play our strengths. We can't just think that we will be robots. And we are becoming robots. We are really trying to adjust ourselves to the technologies. But the bigger danger is not that And we have been adjusting to the robots because we are afraid of them. We are afraid that they will replace us. Think of the first reports from the World Economic Forum on how Industry 4.0 and automation and digitization would replace human labor. A problem that we have had since the first industrial revolution, by the way, and that we as a planet, as a society, as a civilization, we have been managing to solve, by the way. But we are afraid of that. We are afraid that the machines will replace us, that the robots, in the end, ultimately, might even kill us, you know? But the biggest danger is not that machines will replace us. The biggest danger is actually that we become too much like them. So we need to understand what differentiates us from machines. We need to break this trap. We need to understand that the future indeed lies, well, actually, the present and the future indeed lies in technology, but the bigger future lies in transcending technology. Anything that can be digitized, anything that can be automated, it will be. So don't try and force it. Don't try and stop it. You will lose. But everything that can't be automated, everything that can't be digitized, still will be truly valuable. And guess what? Those are the things that we have that machines don't have. Those are human emotions, consciousness, sense of purpose. And this is really what differentiates us from machines. So breaking the trap means not wanting to become like machines, wanting to transcend machines, collaborate with the machines, understand that they will be great, much greater than we will ever be at anything that can be automated, but they will not be, and at least for now, and we don't know for how long, they will not be great at anything that requires any emotional skill. So really, it's about a new sense of leadership, first and foremost. Our leaders have the responsibility to understand that they cannot force us anymore to work on the paradigm of pure efficiency. This is a mindset from the first, the second, and the third industrial revolutions. It can't be the mindset of the fourth industrial revolution. We need leaders that can really act as orchestrators. We need leaders that really have vision over visibility, long-term, beyond what our eyes can see, and understand that they can play to our strengths. Machines don't need to replace us. We can collaborate. And for that, we need to learn. We need to learn. We need to learn throughout our life. We cannot stop learning. And you can say, yes, we have been doing that. Yeah, but we need to learn faster. We need to learn new things faster. The idea of lifelong learning needs to become, I wouldn't say a mantra, but needs to become a thought that you really understand. It is the most important thing you will ever do in your life, is keep on learning. But simultaneously, you will need to have the capacity to unlearn as fast as you learn because of speed. So unlearning becomes as important as learning. And we don't teach unlearning at the universities or schools. So here is the hardest part. We need to play our strengths and understand that we can't just focus on small evolutions. We need to build complete transformations. In the equation, in the expression, the buzzwords, digital transformation that you have been hearing throughout the last 5 years, the most important word is transformation. It's not digital. Digital are machines, they will do it, but transformations is something that are led by people, and we can really lead these transformations. We need to play to our emotions. What can be automated will be. Artificial intelligence, we will never be able to compete with it. But artificial intelligence needs and requires emotional intelligence. And machines don't have emotional intelligence. We do. We need to combine, not fight artificial intelligence with emotional intelligence. No, it's really to combine both and play to that. Emotions can't yet be digitized, so it is our differentiator. That's how we will not be replaced by machines. We need to rely on a couple of other human traits. Trust. We've been doing that, and there are great examples. We need to trust each other. And if you look at all indicators of trust, how we trust the government, how we trust media, how we trust religion, how we trust organizations like corporates, or even NGOs, you will understand that those trust indicators have been constantly dropping, dramatically dropping. Damn, we don't even trust the Red Cross. There's a survey that that says that we don't trust the Red Cross. So you might think that we are trusting less and less. And trust is we have an issue with trust these days because of all the events and the complexity and so on. My point is exactly the opposite. We haven't trusted each other as much as we have been trusting now in the history of of humankind. Think, for instance, on things that have changed our lives. Let's think of Airbnb or Uber. It changed our lives not because it brought us a new product. It's still a car driving us from A to B. It's still a bedroom with a bed in it where we sleep. It's not even the technology issue because there are algorithms there. It's sophisticated, but it's not rocket science. Okay, it's the business model, and the business model is built on one essential thing: the idea that the system builds trust, and that trust is built by peers, by us, the users. When we recommend, when we give our stars to our Uber driver, when our Uber driver rates us as passenger, what they're really building is a trust system. It is true that we are not trusting institutions, but we are trusting each other. There's a disintermediation phenomenon happening. And technology has been leveraging that. If you think on anything like Uber, you trust that your driver is not a serial killer because we as users, we rate the Uber driver to generate that trust. Or Tinder or whatever. Even on currency, blockchain as a technology is kind of a translation of an idea of disintermediated trust. We need to generate trust, but not in centralized institutions. So if you take blockchain and apply it to currency, bitcoins, etc., you understand that even for currency, and for money, we don't want to trust central banks. We don't even want to trust corporates like Visa, PayPal, or MasterCard. We want to trust each other. And blockchain is a technological mirror of that. So build on trust. The idea of purpose. Data. We live in a data economy. The 10 most valuable companies in the world are data companies. But data is irrelevant if you don't know how to do with it, what to do with it, and especially if there's not a purpose that turns data into wisdom. So purpose needs to become really what our driving force. Having a purpose that, as the previous speaker, Chrisalena, was mentioning, a purpose that has to be quadruple bottom line. It needs to have a positive impact on people, the planet, the companies, and all stakeholders around. And that purpose needs to drive us. It needs to drive us forward. If you ask Siri what's her purpose, she will not be able to answer. And it's about creativity. It's about, understanding that we cannot be machines of productivity and efficiency as we were taught to be because of the first, second, and third industrial revolutions. We need to combine the sense of efficiency and productivity with creativity. The definition that I use of innovation to my students in the MBAs, and the idea, we focus innovation on companies. So innovation for a company needs to be the way we can ensure the current viability of the company, that is efficiency and productivity, but simultaneously in a passionate, relentless way, we dream the future viability of the company. And that's what leads to sustainability of businesses. And there are great examples of how you can combine your engine of efficiency, as you were taught in all your school years and university and business schools like mine. Combine that engine of efficiency with the engine of creativity. Use both halves of the brain simultaneously. Organizations are becoming ambidextrous. We need to become ambidextrous, not to become perfect, not to beat the machines, but to add our value and lead and thrive in this process. It's about consciousness. It is about consciousness. You know, Alexa doesn't have it. A couple of years ago, if you would ask, and sorry about the example, but it's the best one that I can find. If you'd ask Siri, I want to kill myself, where's the next bridge? She would open the maps application and tell you where the next bridge is. It doesn't do that anymore, but not because Siri learned with her machine learning technology, she gained conscience of what was happening. No, it was because someone fixed that. Someone, a human, and discovered the problem and went there and fixed it. Because Siri doesn't understand context. It doesn't understand sarcasm, irony, innuendo. This is something that it's about us, and it's about consciousness. Getting, sense making is the #1 skill that people should develop for the future, according to the Institute for the Futures. And this is really interesting. This is really what can drive us. And to wrap it up, it's really about us. None but ourselves can really free our minds. We can make it happen if we don't try to act like machines. We need to go beyond that. We need to try and kiss the sky. If you don't look up, your feet will never leave the ground. And looking up, it's not looking at machines and trying to become like them, but enhancing the humanity in us. And it's also, and it will always be, about something that machines can still do. That is to dream. So keep dreaming and stay safe, stay healthy, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Rui, for giving a lot of energy into this talk, and we could really appreciate this. There were some.
Sorry, I ran a little bit over time. Sorry about that.
No, it's fine. Do you still have time to play a little game with us, or you have
yes, I am. I would charge you for that. I've been seeing the previous games, so I really want to understand what you have prepared for me.
Yeah, we have prepared something good because you're a football fan, as we know. So, Sofia, you can. For this, Rui, what I will do is I will make Sofia the presenter, and you will have to give access to your. I will make you an attendee, so your video and all will go, so you can activate yourself as soon as it goes, and Sofia will drive this.
Okay.
Sofia, you are going to present your screen, and Rui, I would like to ask you to again unmute yourself and share your video. Okay, do it again, please.
Okay, you're seeing?
Yes.
Okay. So you're seeing, right, the PowerPoint?
Rui, your microphone is mute.
Hello?
It's at the bottom.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I'm seeing everything. Sorry. You know, you're on mute is the most said sentence in the last 6 months.
Yes. So, are you a football fan?
Yes.
Yeah, of course you are. So,
not that football in the picture. That's actually an American football. Yeah, but I'm a fan. Yeah.
Yes, wrong picture. So we're going to play a little game where I'm going to show you pictures of football fans, and you have to guess where are they from.
Okay.
Okay, let's start.
Where are they from in terms of country and club, right? Country, right?
Yeah, country.
Okay, this is Brazil, easy.
Yeah, this one is easy.
Yeah.
So next one.
Greece.
We'll tell the answers in the end.
Okay.
So this one.
This is Japan.
And this?
Argentina.
This one.
Aha. This can be multiple things. I would guess here, I would go for Russia.
Interesting. Okay.
It could be Serbia, but I would go for Russia.
It could be something else also.
Oh, of course. Or it could be actually Korea. Okay, well, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. This one.
This is Mexico.
I can see by the hat.
No, actually by the mask.
Oh.
These guys. This is US. USA. Captain Vodka. So with the colors, this might be Russia because of the, this is Russia.
And this
Russia.
one?
Actually, that was not Russia. Sorry, that was most likely Germany before. And this one is Iran.
That's good. You have a couple of wrong answers also.
Most likely.
But it's a great game. Rui, thank you for being with us. We'll share the answer. Do you want to share the answers now, Sofia? Because we are anyways at the end of the set.
No, this one
okay.
is not.
Yeah, we removed the answers from here, but we will share the answers in the video.
Cool. Thank you.
But, yeah, let me share my screen, and we'll just end the curiosity with the answers, and then we'll move on to the next session. Let me see if I have the answers. Yes, I have the answer, so I will share my screen and I will show you all the answers, and then you can go with that. Okay, do you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay, the first one is easy because it was written Brazil.
Yeah.
The second one, you can read it on the cap of the person.
Yeah.
Argentina, England.
Oh, it was England.
Yeah.
Oh.
Then this one is Honduras. It's written on the cap.
Jesus. I saw the H as in blue and white, Elas,
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
And he has H on his, face.
Yeah. But Greece in Greek is Elas. It starts with an H. So that was my thing. Oh, France, of course. Belgium. Yeah, I didn't see the
Yeah, it was a tricky one because the only way the colors are German.
It's the colors there. Yeah. Then vodka was because the Russian World Cup. Yeah.
But there's something written on the cap.
Yeah. That's why I then said Germany. Because I saw the red and yellow and and black. So
yeah. And rest are fine. They were all good.
Super, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rui. Let me also give you the answers for this session. Smoke on Fire and Bitcoin talent pools, of course. Smoke, digital gold is actually a synonym for Bitcoin, so it is fire. Then blockchain plus AR, right now there are no use cases here with augmented reality. Cloud mining is a real thing, guys. Cloud mining, it's a real thing. Virtual globalization, yes, a real thing. Mobile apps and biochips, not so far, but social media and micropayments, the Libra project. AR, VR, and AI, yes, it's real because there are use cases where they are being corroborated. Non-financial crypto, yes, NFTs, non-fungible tokens, and crypto media influencers also is a real thing. So thank you for this session, everyone, all the speakers. I would like to thank everyone to attend this. We are moving on to the educational section. So The stream will be live as soon as we set up and go live with it. So bear with us. In 2 minutes, we'll be live in the next session. I will be ending the stream now. Thank you, Rui. Thank you, Sofia. And thank you everyone for joining.